on and I go to KSDK's website. Can I just read these headlines? This has got to be the most miserable lineup of headlines I have ever seen on a St. Louis news site. Let's just go through it. Family reacts after drive-through dispute turns deadly at St. Louis County Steak and Shake. Child dies after falling out a window in St. Louis.
Saw that one.
One dead, one wounded in East St. Louis shooting. Ex-wife convicted St. Louis County rapist says she previously accused him of similar crimes abroad. Victims identified in home explosion outside Troy, Illinois. Person found shot to death on parking lot of Bridgeton Quick Trip. 2 killed in shooting in Country Club Hills Thursday night. Country Club Hills Thursday night. Man stabbed to death in St. Louis Wednesday night. That's what we're dealing with in the headlines today.
Okay, I will tell you that my first news job, so I had been in media, done some radio, TV, but my first news job was right here at this very spot in 2018. I was doing part-time news gathering on the weekends just to get my foot in the door here. And it was the first time I had ever seen the AP line come through, the Associated Press. And every weekend, that was the same lineup of stories. Although some of those are a little bit more like the one with the kid. That was really sad.
Oh, man, it's just terrible.
The amount of stories, Ryan, that you would see, and this isn't new. It's, the last at least 6 years since I've been here. You'd come in, and overnight, it would be stabbing, shooting, mostly North County. And you got to decide, do I report all of these? Because it's literally the same headline every day. And you just kind of have to decide, well, what would people be wanting to hear?
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at that, and it's so depressing. So, happy Friday. I mean, it's like, what a way to, I think that really sums up the week, the way it feels. Like it's just one rough thing that just adds weight to your shoulders after another. That was this week. But, hopefully next week's a better week. But we'll try to make this a better day for everyone. What about this tweet where Donald Trump pretty much goes off on everyone? Well, it's not a tweet. It's a Truth Social. Melts down on MAGA losers in Truth Social rampage, particularly right off the top. I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have all been fighting for me for years, especially by the fact that they think it was wonderful for Iran, the number one state sponsor of terror, to have nuclear weapon because they have one thing in common, low IQs. So that's how he starts the Truth Social, just really going after. Okay, that seems to be quite the lineup of people, honestly, that used to be pretty big supporters of him. Do you think they all hate him now? Or is it just as soon as you criticize the president, he immediely flips on you?
No, I got a theory about this. In fact, I was looking at doing a poll about this subject today, but I couldn't figure out how to phrase it with those 4 names. But my theory is that most of them, now Megyn Kelly is weird to me because she doesn't seem like she would normally be in this category, but Alex Jones, Candace, Tucker, they're resistance media. So they're not necessarily always conservative. They're just conservative when a liberal's in office.
Okay.
So all they do really is just wait for whatever power structure's in place, and then they just fire at it, which I'm not always opposed to. Some of that is actually kind of healthy, because whenever you have a Democrat in office, you have no mainstream pushback. So you need resistance media. Yeah. But that's what they are, and it's like the only thing they know how to do.
Is it easier to be a radio personality if you just hate everything? Isn't it easier then to be like a talk show host?
Yeah.
So do you think part of this is, Tucker and Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens? Alex Jones has been doing it a long time on his own. But you have some that have, fairly new to it, like Megyn Kelly and Tucker Carlson. Before, they used to have this big staff. They'd have people write for them. They would have, all these different articles and things, and they would have meetings, and they would, set the show, and they'd have 1 hour. They'd only have to do 1 hour a night with a staff that's a huge staff. They go out on their own. Things are slimmed down, and they say it's a lot easier just to hate everything. I can put a 4-hour show together and just hate things all day, and that's not a problem. Is it just an ease thing?
Yeah, well, as you know, when you're talking about anything, especially in entertainment / politics / media, you do so because you're trying to create engagement. And
yeah.
the easiest shortcut to engagement is through anger, especially with politics, because you can just throw a bomb out and go, "Isn't this ridiculous?" And then basically yell about it. And I'm not saying that we never get mad about anything. We get mad about stuff all the time. But it's not the only. It's to me, that's a one-trick pony if you're just mad all the time.
Yeah. Is this why you're so mean to Ethan all the time? You're starting drama for clicks?
Yeah.
That's the only reason?
And he knows that. And we both take a cut on the back end.
With the cut of what? So what was the last residual check you guys received? How'd you guys do?
It was in the $1 range. So we both split a couple of Reese's.
They don't even have a $1 menu at McDonald's anymore, do they? You can't even.
I don't think so.
Get for $1. They might charge you $1 for water now at a McDonald's. I mean, that's how bad things have gotten. All right, so you actually love him, but you're only doing it for show. I get it now. Okay,
that's correct.
You really missed an opportunity on April Fool's Day where you could have just leaned into him with love really hard and confused him.
Ooh, I could do that today. We'll see.
Okay. It's late April Fool's Day. I mean, we got a lot to get to on the show, too. What's up with Melania Trump saying, I have to come out and address this whole Epstein thing because there's so many rumors online, and especially people on the left. I don't know if it's an MSNBC thing, but they really went out of their way to try to make it sound like she was a trafficked victim that Donald Trump picked up. And I think maybe the online hate got strong enough where she had to finally address it. Do you think she needed to address this, number one? But number two, it's kind of a weird time in the world where things like this come up and need to be addressed.
We talked about this yesterday because we were right in the middle of doing a press conference on the Attorney General from California when Melania comes on almost back to back and gives this surprise press conference that none of us knew was coming. And not that we always know about every one of them, but if Trump's going to give a big one, we usually know ahead of time. Nobody knew about this. And I'm seeing even today, Jackie Heinrich of Fox News reporting that most of the White House didn't know that this was coming. Huh. So it's a bit of a surprise to everybody. It sounds like people even in her circle. And I'm not sure why she picked that day.
Would you like to be that popular where you can just do impromptu news conferences and they just pick up on it? You want to be that, I mean, I guess well sought after or well known that whenever something is going on and someone says something about you that's wrong, you can go to a microphone and they'll break in and cover it?
Boy, it's tempting. I know that it comes with a lot of baggage, but it would be tempting to be able to just have everyone's attention anytime you wanted it.
Yeah. What's interesting, too, about the whole Epstein thing? So she comes out and says, I am not an Epstein victim. That's a weird thing to pin on someone, right? Like everything that Epstein stood for and the trafficking and the sexual assaults and the rapes. And I mean, I'm just going to say this, the speculation that goes even further, the deaths and disappearances. And I mean, there's all kinds of crazy things that are coming out in these emails that you're wondering about. It's weird to pin that on someone who said it didn't happen to them. Isn't that weird that they would try to force that to try to shame her, to say that, we're going to lump you in with everyone else, even though you weren't, as a way to try to defame you? That's a strange tactic the left had against her.
Well, it's not a surprise because it's the same tactic that they've been using because they're just trying to hit Trump. As you know, they did not do anything or care about the Epstein files at all until Trump was in office, and they thought, maybe this can give us some political capital. And so they'll just make things up about Melania or whoever just to try to get another angle at Trump, and it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, coming up in the next segment, this might be an interesting thing. I find that when it comes to impromptu statements, this is something that I'm sure they address, and the deputy for the White House press secretary is going to join us after the break. Oh, by the way, what's our YouTube live chat poll?
Yeah, the question is, how often in this still week of Easter, how often do you go to church? Is it weekly, monthly, just holidays, or never? And I got to admit, a little of this is just my personal curiosity. I don't know what our audience is going to answer to this. So I'm just wanting to know.
be honest when you answer, not how much you would like to go, how much you really go. That's the important thing. All right, the YouTube live chat poll is there. Go and give it a vote. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry on 97.1 FM Talk.
Like a hand that rusted chain. So do you laugh or does it cry?
Triton Exteriors, St. Louis roofing, siding, and gutter systems. We'll take care of you and your home. We're #1 in the Ladue, Kirkwood, and Webster area. James Hardy certified. Visit triton.stl.com to be connected with a James Hardy expert and receive a free estimate. Triton-stl.com or call 314-717-1159. That's 314-717-1159. Triton Exteriors, St. Louis #1 James Hardy specialists.
Hey guys, are you dealing with low energy, weight gain, or issues in the bedroom? Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, and they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. Get in, get answers, get back to the top of your game. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, that's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Mark Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group, as they show you how to create a worry-free retirement. It's Tuesday, April 28th at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield at 6:30. Here are Thomas and Bob with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired and would like to know how to turn your 401k and IRA into a worry-free retirement? Would you like to learn the investment strategy that gives you market growth while avoiding the market losses at the same time?
Would you like to get your free personalized retirement income plan? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free and have a worry-free retirement? If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Have a worry-free retirement and join the official financial advisors of my show, Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw. It's at the Doubletree Hotel in Chesterfield, Tuesday, April 28th at 6:30 p.m. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
This is Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates. You know, the doctors, or just the best doctors to see for your best vision in St. Louis. 314-966-5000, the doctors. They've treated more than 250 doctors. That's more than any other practice. Dr. Greg Birdie, Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, Dr. Robert Bersati, Dr. Andy Royer. 314-966-5000 is their phone number. 314-966-5000. Dr. Birdie, Dr. Malhotra are cornea surgeons and experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye, dry eye, allergy eye, cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, LASIK surgery. The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates, experts. Call for an appointment today, 314-966-5000, or visit them online, youridoc.com, 12990 Manchester Road, quarter mile west of 270. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's best eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
And welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry. Joining us now is the Deputy White House Press Secretary, Kush Desai. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, so we have the latest consumer price index. It looks like inflation rose 3.3% annually. It's not as terrible, but it's not great. I think people feel it. It probably feels worse than it is. What's your take on these numbers?
Sure. Well, look, I think President Trump going into Operation Epic Fury was always clear that there would be some short-term disruptions. And certainly we saw that in today's inflation report, where we saw gas and other energy prices show some volatility. But that being said, the administration has been working around the clock on mitigating these disruptions. And beyond that, we have been focused on implementing the broader agenda of restoring affordability for the American people. And actually, you mentioned the 3.3% top line number, but when you take energy out of that, inflation year over year was actually a much cooler 2.6%. We actually saw prices of beef, especially ground beef, decline over the past month. We saw prescription drug prices decline 1.5%. We actually saw the largest drop in prescription drug prices in BLS recorded over a 3-month period in BLS history. And we're seeing the decline in other things like eggs and dairy and other household essentials. So, there's a 2-track here with the energy prices, and we certainly understand that Americans are feeling that squeeze, but we're working on a broader affordability agenda that's paying off, and the report kind of shows bits of that.
Yeah, and that's just the whole idea. And I think a lot of people do anticipate it will be temporary. It's not a long-term thing. So sometimes it takes a couple of months before those things reflect. Are we anticipating it might get worse in a few months before it gets better?
Look, I think that depends on the status of these negotiations that are going to be happening over the weekend in Pakistan with the president's negotiating team. Certainly we're optimistic that things will continue to improve. But look, we're starting to see a gradual opening up of the Strait of Hormuz, and we're starting to see energy flow through the strait once again. And beyond that, I mean, look, we're obviously very optimistic in America's ability to continue drilling more oil and gas so that we can meet our own needs. And so, look, I think we're taking a close look at the situation, but, we're walking and chewing gum both on the home front and abroad.
Can I ask you about that trip to Pakistan? So it seems like every time I load up a different news site, there's something new going on. Okay, did they break it? Did they not? Is there another threat? Is there not? Are they opening it up? Are they not opening it up? So it seems like there's been a lot of things that have changed rapidly depending on where you're looking for news. So I might as well just ask, after this meeting that happens in Pakistan, are we anticipating that we're going to get on the same page and things are going to start to finally, work together?
Sure, I think that's a great question for the negotiation team. But look, I think we're hopeful that the Iranians will finally negotiate in good faith with us, and we're optimistic that we can finally achieve a lasting peace in the Middle East. But regardless of those negotiations, I know for a fact that everyone here in the administration in Washington is focused on implementing the president's agenda to continue restoring affordability for the American people. I mean, TrumpRx.gov has just added several new tranches of prescription drugs at discounted prices. And I know we're working around the clock with more drug makers to add even more discounted drugs onto the website. We're working with American oil and gas companies to drill even more oil and gas right here in the United States. So, again, I think there's a lot of moving pieces here, but I can tell you that we're working very hard around the clock to keep delivering here.
Right. And I think that once you start making those announcements, I know it takes a little while for things to make it down the pipeline. So we could be just seeing the tip of the iceberg when it comes to some of these prescription drugs, affordability. And I know that they do move pretty quick when there's a motivation for them to move quick. But I have to assume that there's going to be more things that happen here. So we're going to see that trend in the right direction when it comes to affordability.
That's exactly right. And look, the president's most favored nation drug pricing deals is, as you say, it's still the tip of the iceberg. We're working every day with Congress to pass the president's great healthcare plan, which will codify those most favored nation drug pricing deals, make sure everyone who's using their insurance copays to buy prescription drugs will really access those discounted prices. And we're also working to lower insurance premiums, to increase plain English standards in our completely convoluted healthcare system, so people actually know what they're getting into and have transparency on healthcare prices and those sort of procedures that they're about to get. So again, there's a lot going on here, and we're not losing sight of any of that on the home front.
And can I say this too? Just the fact that I go back and I think this would have been, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. The whole idea during President Trump's first term was we're going to get oil into the United States in a more efficient way. And part of that was the Keystone Pipeline expansion. And that was supposed to be a big thing. It's going to not only create jobs, but it's going to be a safer way to bring this oil in. And it makes us more energy independent. Biden comes in, cuts it. So I know it takes years for things like that to get into the pipeline, I guess, no pun intended, but there's been some more interest in opening the pipeline again because we're looking at where we are and we know it takes time to get these things off the ground. But I keep thinking if we would have completed that project, how much better things would have been right now when it comes to affordability for energy and oil. So are we looking at long-term projects like that in the future to try to continue the trend of bringing prices down?
Absolutely. I mean, if you recall a few months ago when the president secured his trade deal with Japan, Japan agreed to essentially put up a $550 billion investment vehicle into projects that the president kind of deemed worthy. A lot of those investments that have already unveiled have been major energy projects across the United States, whether it be nuclear power plants, whether it be oil refining facilities. And so we continue to work with both our domestic oil and gas industry and our foreign partners to shore up our oil and gas capacity writ large, whether it be, the folks who are out there drilling to the folks who are out there refining. And so this is something we are working on very closely with all of our partners, both at home and abroad.
Yeah, and another thing, going back to the inflation numbers, a big part of what they see is housing when you measure inflation and, the cost of living. That's just a big thing, and housing is part of it. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that Trump administration is doing right now going into the summer months to address that?
Sure. Part of what I said earlier, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. Just a couple of weeks ago, again, while Operation Epic Fury was underway, the president signed 2 executive orders aimed at housing affordability. One of them was to cut a bunch of red tape that was preventing, your community banks from being in the mortgage business, from being able to give mortgages out to people right there in their neighborhoods who do business with them. Another one was aimed at slashing red tape, both at the federal and state and local levels, that were preventing new home construction. And so the president signed these executive orders. These are still taking effect, but we're very confident that they're going to both on the demand side be able to cut, increase mortgage competition to drive down mortgage rates for Americans, and on the supply side ensure that more new homes get built at a record clip. To drive down housing costs and increase housing affordability. And you saw that, and you're starting to see little snippets of that in today's inflation report. Housing inflation actually looked like it was cooling. And we're confident that as these and other policies take effect, we're going to start seeing more, especially young Americans, be able to achieve the American dream of home ownership.
So I think generally speaking, people are looking at the way life is right now. Everything's expensive, right? Gas prices, everything expensive. I can't even go to McDonald's and get a value meal under, $7 anymore. So people have these kind of signs in their own lives that they see that. What would you say to them that would better reassure that it's not going to always be this tough and things are going to get better?
Look, I'll say 2 things. Number one is that we've already seen a very clear trend here where real wages have been growing under this president. And unlike the last president, the Americans' wage growth is outpacing that of inflation, meaning you're making more money than prices are rising. And number 2 is that the president's economic agenda, this isn't like a theoretical exercise. It has a proven track record. In his first term, President Trump delivered historic job, wage, and economic growth. We actually saw the first decline in wealth and income inequality in decades in the first term. And that was because of the same policies we're implementing now. Historic tax cuts. We're seeing Americans right now getting historic tax refund checks because of no tax on tip, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. Because of rapid deregulation, we're slashing hundreds of billions of dollars worth of regulations out of our economy to let the private sector hire and grow. Because of energy abundance, and certainly we're seeing how America's the largest oil and gas producer in the world and one of the largest oil and gas exporters in the world. So this economic agenda has a proven track record, and as it plays out, we're confident that we're going to see the same results we saw during the first Trump administration.
Great. And another tip for anyone listening, go get your Easter candy on discount now. That'll save you a couple of dollars. Deputy White House Press Secretary Kush Desai, thank you so much for joining us here in St. Louis. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thanks for having me on.
You're listening to The Andy Fry Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in on 97.1 FM Talk.
Last year, I had back pain radiating down my right leg. The pain was so bad I was willing to cut my leg off to stop the pain. I could barely walk and had to stoop over when I did just to take pressure off the spine. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. In my professional career, I've represented thousands of people who've had herniated discs and issues with their neck and back, but never fully appreciated what they were going through until it was my turn. It's like trying to describe colors to a blind person who's never had sight. All I can tell you is it hurt like hell, but worse. My daily walk was gone, and that bothered me a great deal. Then I thought of all of you and how much more devastating this type of injury could be for you. My life stopped. I now feel your pain. Just know at Morgan & Morgan, we got your back. I understand. Morgan means more.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
2026, I've been hearing from customers and friends that their utility bills went up quite a bit for their electric bill. That being said, and you're looking at buying a new air conditioner, or you're thinking, hey, I guess let's just get an air conditioner so it helps with the electric bills. If you have an old system, it definitely can help you. But watch your thinking. Just because you are told this is a so-called high-efficient air conditioner, it's not going to save you nowhere near what you think it's going to save you. Just replacing your old equipment is the biggest thing, and make your house efficient. An air conditioner is not going to make your house efficient. That being said, it's a great time to purchase an air conditioner if you get the correct one. Don't overspend. Don't believe the hype. In other words, don't drink the Kool-Aid. Call me, Bart Inman, at 314, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600. Again, the easiest of numbers, 314-293-2600, or bartinman.com. God bless.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
From the gateway city to the front lines of freedom, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry. Happy to be with you, and it is a Friday, and there's always a lot going on. Yeah, this is the time if you need to bulk up on candy. The Easter discounted candy is out on the shelves, so go get that. Ryan Wiggins, do you have a favorite Easter candy?
Yes,
by the way,
I do, and I already bought some discounted Cadbury eggs.
Oh, they're so gross.
Really?
You're the candy connoisseur, and you like Cadbury eggs?
Oh, man, yeah. Cadbury eggs are great. They're a little smaller than they used to be, and they're a little more chocolatey, a little less goo in the middle, but they are still good. The problem is they're so dang expensive. Before Easter, they're over $1 a piece for one egg.
$1 a piece?
After Easter, you can get them cheaper, which is why I do it that way, and then I just buy a bunch. But the other thing I don't like so much, and this is contrary to my normal personality, I don't like that they offer Cadbury eggs for other holidays now. Because now you can get a Halloween egg and these Christmas eggs, and you're like, this doesn't make any sense. I still like the candy, but that's an Easter candy.
It is. I love the carton of chocolate marshmallow eggs. You get like a dozen of those little half eggs, and they're normally $1. And when they're on discount, you might get multiples for $1. Oh, I need to go stock up on that because I can eat those for entire meals. And my kids still had some left, and they must be counting them because I was stealing them like I normally do, as every good dad will do, steal their kids' candy. I was eating them, and then they opened it up and they said, "Dad, where's all my candy? Have you been eating them?" And man, did that start something this morning with the kids ready to revolt against me because of that. Let me give you this story here and get your initial impression. Americans could see a first-of-its-kind fight as they prepare to celebrate the country's 250th independence, a cage match between the sons of a sitting U.S. president and a son of a former president. Hunter Biden wants to fight either Donald Jr. or Eric as part of this like a summer spectacular. Hunter Biden wants to get into a boxing match against Donald Trump Jr. or Eric Trump. The first thing that came to mind when I heard that was, I guess he's smoking crack again, because that's the only explanation. What do you think's going on?
Okay,
here?
I have not heard this story, so instant reaction. Number one, the Biden family is in financial trouble. I know that that's true. And they have made that known, because normally after a president leaves office, they are highly sought after for speeches and appearances and stuff. You know, Joe Biden isn't making any appearances. He's not involved in politics, really. He's not involved in the future of politics. Yeah. So there is no demand for the Biden name at all. And that's how Hunter made all of his money. So he doesn't know how to make money. And I guess this is what he's trying. I don't know. Does he have a personal beef with them, or is he just trying to stir up some attention?
He's trying to, I think, stir up attention. So I guess his art career didn't really pan out the way he thought it would.
While in office, he was doing fine. People were
Isn't that strange how that works?
Yeah.
He makes these lousy, terrible, ugly paintings, and all of a sudden people want to buy it, laundering money through this artwork. And we use the word art pretty liberally. So wasn't it even part of his agreement with his baby mama that the illegitimate kid from the stripper would be paid mostly in Hunter Biden paintings? Do you remember that settlement?
No, I never heard that before.
It's so ridiculous. So I don't know. This is the story as it was reported, and who knows if that's just how they reported it to the press to throw you off the scent of what really happened. So let's zoom back and remember the whole Hunter Biden saga. He has a illegitimate kid with a stripper, refuses to acknowledge that this is his, I want to say daughter. Is it daughter? So she goes out and says, Hunter, this is yours, because she wants to get back child support. He refuses. Now, it gets to so bad, it gets to the point of court where she takes him to court for back child support. Joe Biden refuses to acknowledge this is a grandchild. So refuses to acknowledge this grandchild's existence. It's a pretty lousy move as a grandparent. So they go to court, and apparently they settle on him handing over art pieces to the kid in which they could sell to make up for the child support. No. Because I think they tried to negotiate that the paintings were worth more than what the child support payments would be. So just sell the paintings. Well, how many paintings do you think they sold, and how much money do you think was transferred over, or was that just like for show?
Well, while Biden was in office, those paintings were going for a decent amount. Because the thing, and everybody has already said this, so it's nothing new, but art is so objective that's why people use it to launder money.
Yes.
Is you can just say, well, that to me is worth $500,000, but to this other guy, it's worth the paper that it's printed on for $15. And you can't prove it. It's just completely subjective. So it's a great way to go about moving money around and getting influence and all of the above. And so obviously that was happening. And she made a bad move accepting that, though. She should not have accepted his art unless she immediately sold it. But the other reason that you sell the art is to get favor with the administration. Well, her selling it doesn't get anybody any favor because they're already saying she's not a part of the family. So I don't know if she made the right move here.
If you had all this money that Hunter was laundering through the Biden name and through the connection as father of vice president, father of president, he's sitting on these Ukrainian boards. He was accepting money all over the world, traveling with Joe Biden. So he's now saying that he's in poverty. He's got no money. Okay, I understand you had some issues with drugs and you make bad decisions, but apparently he was supposed to be sober for all these last couple of years. How did you burn through all of that money? Doesn't it boggle your mind sometimes when people have a windfall and they, in this case, got away pretty scot-free because of the pardons of Joe Biden. So he gets all this money and now he's poverty-stricken, and we're talking like a year after Joe Biden's been out of office. That's all it took.
I'll say that this is one of the few times that I believe that he's telling the truth. I bet he is actually in poverty because he has lived his entire life with the ability to use his last name to just get paid and get onto boards and get onto whatever payment scheme that he was going to be involved in just because of his last name. And then the minute there is no more favor to be bought with him, who's going to spend any money with him? Because they know there's no future in Biden's.
Yeah, there's none. And you're right about Joe. You think he's hiding because they understand that he's just not capable physically of speaking to groups? Why do you think that is? He just at the point where he's like Jimmy Carter level? Are we talking like
probably less than that?
Bad?
Less than that, because Jimmy Carter still had some love in certain parts of the country and the Democrat Party, just because he lived so darn long after he was president. I don't think anybody politically loved him, but you live long enough and you just say, well, I'll honor the guy. He's a former president. Joe Biden is. He was not loved by. I mean, he was hated so badly by the Democrat Party that they forced him to not run again for his second term as the incumbent. So he's not very well loved, and he has no political future.
Against his will.
Yes.
He forced him to do it. And he got very quiet about it, and he was very hush-hush. So what does he do now? You think he just goes to the ice cream shop and tries the different flavors? That's like his daily routine?
Well, I think that would be accomplishing a lot for him. I think he's not really capable of if he's capable of that, he's probably winning.
Yep. Kind of a different story going on. You see the Justice Department is very upset with the NFL and all their subscription services that are going on. This is a pretty big deal, at least from a consumer level, of people that are just tired of, one, you think you have the service to watch your team, and then they swap them over different multiple services, including some which you don't have access to. So you're like, okay, I paid the fee. Why can't I watch my team? And then they take it off of TV and they move it to different channels. And it is so infuriating that I'm kind of glad the government is looking into this, because it is very anti-competitive and anti-consumer.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting harder to watch anything because you never know where it's going to be, which is a product of a shifting media environment. I'm not saying it's entirely intentional, but there are so many people that are no longer watching TV and they want to watch the games, and the leagues want to catch up to those people because they're behind right now. They just have been behind on that because the TV contracts were so big. So I don't really know what the specifics of this NFL thing are, but I do know that the NFL, it's weird because internally it's very communistic. They share revenue. They have caps on everything so that every owner is going to make maybe not the exact same, but no owner is going to be left behind. Even the lowest one's going to make pretty good money, and the highest one's not going to blow the other ones out of the water. And they do that with talent too. But externally, they're very capitalistic and they're very cutthroat. And not that capitalism has to be cutthroat, but that they are. The NFL absolutely is cutthroat. And so I could see them doing anything possible to drown out other media just to benefit themselves.
Yeah, is there a league that hates their fans more than the NFL, but still profits from them more than anyone else? Like, they just, to me, hate their fans.
They hate their fan, the base fan. They hate the average dude who just likes watching football on Sundays and maybe Mondays and Thursdays. They constantly are pandering to get a bigger audience, and that's partially overseas. They're doing all this stuff with that. That's why they do the breast cancer awareness stuff, is not because they care, is because they're constantly looking to add market value with women in that case. And I just think that they've screwed up in the last several years, probably since Kaepernick. That's when it became super political, and everybody kind of had to take a side on the NFL. We've taken sides on the NFL before that here in St. Louis. But that's when they should have buckled down and said, okay, forget trying to market to the fringes to bring big tent. Let's just go back to our main dude. And they didn't do it.
Yep. All right. Going back to the whole Hunter Biden thing being broke and wanting to have a cage match against one of the Trump sons, do you think he'll settle for Kid Rock? Hunter Biden versus Kid Rock in a cage? Would you watch that?
Hunter Biden would settle for anything. So yes, to answer your question, he would settle for me. You're like, oh, you're on a St. Louis radio and you're the second chair? Yeah, I'll settle for that. I'll do that.
You just run out to the park real quick, and you'll just film it through the window of the studio. You won't even be nearby.
Right.
Who's that homeless person that's fighting Ryan Wiggins? What's up with that? Oh, that's Hunter Biden.
You know what's funny you say that? Because right when you mentioned that story, I thought, this feels like bum fights.
Oh, yes. I remember that. Was it late 90s, early 2000s?
Yep.
And that, if people don't know what bum fights is, can you explain?
So that was when people would go around and film or video bums, and they would just give them $20 and say, here, just go at it. Like, just fight. And it was just atrocious, disgusting, and also made everybody who knew about it kind of laugh. And I think it became illegal. They started prosecuting these people at some point, but it was a huge industry for a few years.
And you had to order it over the mail.
Yes.
You couldn't just go buy it somewhere. Obviously, they weren't going to sell this at Walmart. But you had to call a number from a late night infomercial, give them your credit card information, and hope that they would send this thing. I had a buddy who purchased it through the mail, got it in. And I'll tell you that it is impossible for an immature high school student not to fall for that trap of buying this stuff. As an adult, I look at that and I say, this is terrible. This is not good. But the high school in me laughs because of that late 90s, early 2000s. It was such a wild, wild west of stuff you can get your hands on that it's just, I guess it exists out there somewhere. Maybe I just don't, I'm not part of those parts of the internet where that stuff exists anymore.
You're exactly right. That was my time period too, because we're about the same age. Is when you're a teenager and you hear, oh, somebody's going out and giving money to two bums to just fight. You're like, this is the greatest thing I ever heard.
This is why the internet exists.
That's horrible.
It is horrible. Yeah, and imagine if, let's say you're going down to a Cardinals game, there's a large crowd, and all of a sudden people are like, okay, I'm going to pay these bums to fight to entertain the crowds. I tell you what, the crowds would turn on the people that were trying to organize that and probably fight those people. Like the cultural shift is definitely not allowing for that type of entertainment anymore.
No.
But late 90s, early 2000s, it was a whole different feel. It's hard to explain. But I'll tell you, gas was cheap, and so were McDonald's burgers, and people were selling that stuff. And on network television, they were selling
Girls
this stuff.
Gone Wild.
That too. They would put the number up there, and the infomercial would run all night. If you had a TV on after 9 p.m., it's a guarantee that infomercial popped on at some point. And they knew who their audience was. It's, I don't know, it's hard to explain the feel of that era. There might be a documentary about that. If not, this would be a documentary I would watch on Netflix. Just the craziness of that time period.
You heard it here first. Ryan wants to watch a documentary on Girls Gone Wild.
No. Just that time frame of just the wild, wild west of how crazy America was late 90s, early 2000s. It was a wild time. All right, we're going to do the B or not the B coming up after the break with Ryan Wiggins. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in on 97.1 FM Talk.
It's 3 a.m. I must be lonely. She says, baby.
97.1 FM Talk in Action is spotlighting Our Ladies Inn, providing safe shelter, care, and support for pregnant women and children facing homelessness. Since 1982, they've helped local families build stable, independent futures. Learn more at OurLadiesInn.org.
Home Shield Foundation Repair, Matt Hayes, the whole team at this local family-owned company right here out of St. Louis. You got the right people on the other end of the line when you call 314-271-9900 for all your foundation repair needs. It's important when you're making an investment in your home, something as important as the foundation, that you're working with somebody who you can trust. Matt Hayes, he's that guy. 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. If it's a basement waterproofing that you need to have checked out, you can call Home Shield Foundation Repair. If it's a uneven or sunken concrete that you need leveled out so you stop tripping over it, or, it's a liability when that concrete starts to settle, it becomes a trip hazard. You don't want mom and dad coming over and tripping, and then the rest of that story. Get it fixed once and for all with somebody you can trust. Call Matt Hayes, 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. Online at HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield. where luxury meets comfort. Mark Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com. If you're looking for the best eye care in St. Louis, look no further than the doctors of Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer. Make your appointment today at youridoc.com or call 314-966-5000. Ophthalmology Associates.
The Annie Fry Show is St. Louis conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry. It is a Friday, and we get to do something pretty neat on Fridays during Wiggins America's time slots. This is always cool. And can I say, when we do this segment, the be or not the be, I always try to answer as if I want it to be true.
That's fair.
I feels like I'm not playing the game properly, but I love this segment.
Well, it's just like apples to apples. You can answer based on any criteria you want.
Okay, let's do it.
Wiggins. Oh, Wiggins.
The be or not the be.
And I would like to welcome our very favorite, best guest, Trisha Seekman, is here. Everdeen.
Hi,
Except
everybody.
you forgot her last name.
Happy Friday.
I said both. So Trisha is going to join us and vote on whether or not these are the B or not the B. Here's the first one. These are either real or fake. I'll read the headline. You tell me which one it is. You thought you were playing Pokemon Go? Nope, you were creating 3D models of the real world to train delivery bots.
Oh, yeah, that's real.
These are the good ones because they could be either one, but I'm going to say that it was the B.
I'm going real.
Record?
That's so real. So real.
This is real. It's 100% real.
Oh, yeah.
Pokemon Go had users travel their cities to find Pokemon at different landmarks. Did you guys ever play this?
No, my husband
never
does
a Pokemon
still.
Go guy.
Still does.
Yeah.
And at different landmarks, using their phone to scan the area as they went, so that when you think about it, this was one of the most genius ideas ever. This week, this company was part of a team behind Pokemon Go, announced a partnership with Coco Robotics, a company that makes short-distance delivery robots for food and groceries. Soon, those robot couriers will scoot around sidewalks using this company's VPS, a navigation tool that can reportedly pinpoint location down to a few centimeters just by looking at nearby buildings. And you helped make it all possible by playing the game.
I hate this so much. There's nothing you can do that's private anymore. My goodness. And how would you like to be in the background of one of those? You don't even want to be in that picture, and there's someone trying to catch a Pikachu, and there you are, in your sweatpants thinking you're just going to go out for a quick pizza. Nope. Now you're forever part of this algorithm.
Yep, and you're in a Pokemon training center, and you didn't even know it. And you're catching the
You're
worst.
battling
It's
with
like
the
it's
gym.
like you're getting ready for the Hunger Games, except it's Pokemon Go.
Yeah, exactly. All
A
right.
little robot brings you food.
Yeah.
Next one. As astronauts reach the farthest any human has been from Earth, mission specialist pretty sure he left the oven on.
That's the B.
No, that's real.
I'm saying B.
That is definitely the B.
No.
That would be a great story though, if it was real, too. It says that Hansen explained that he had last used the oven to bake a frozen pot pie the day before launch, but he could not recall having ever turned the oven off after consuming his 7-ounce Swanson meal.
This is my nightmare. I leave the house. I'm like, is it on?
And now, being 252,760 miles from his oven, there was little he could do. I'm so forgetful, he said. I'd forget my head if it weren't attached to my body. Well, what can you do? All right, this next one is based on a story we talked about yesterday, but it's a follow-up. Here's the headline. Here's what each of the 73 letters in Canada's new LGBTQ acronym stands for. It's a weird headline because is it funny or not?
Oh,
you really don't.
You're
know.
not gonna. You're not
That's
gonna
it.
share them. You're not gonna share them.
What do you guys think?
73. There were a lot of letters in that, but it was not quite that many. So this is the B.
I missed that because I thought you were going to say something after.
I know.
It's a tricky headline.
Yeah.
Here's what each of the 73 letters in Canada's new LGBTQ acronym stands for.
Ryan?
Well, there's a plus, which plus means it's almost like you can add as many as you feel like in there.
True.
I'm going to just say that seems totally exactly a headline that's not the B.
No, it is the B. It is the B. Here's a few examples. They said MM stands for merman attracted. B stands for bicyclist.
Oh.
JOU stands for James O'Keefe undercover. These are ways you could be attracted to someone or something. TJ is people exclusively sexually attracted to Trader Joe's. L stands for Lindsey Graham. Not sure why they didn't do LG, but just the L is
because LG would be sexually attracted to the refrigerators.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Nice.
WD-40 is a type of oil added to the list by accident. DCF is Dallas Cowboys fans. S is Steve.
Just
Wait,
That's it.
Steve.
Just
Wait.
Steve.
Any Steve.
Like our boss, Steve?
No, just Steve.
Okay.
Any Steve.
Got it.
VP is village people attracted. LEGO is only attracted to Lego characters. BLT is bacon, lettuce, and tomato.
Obviously.
Didn't say exactly how you'd be attracted to it. It just says that that's what it is, which is true. SUB is Subaru owners. DD is Christy Noam's husband.
It's a dark place on the internet.
Yes, it is.
It's a rough one to end on.
Taking
Do you think in today's world there's someone attracted to everything? Like the things you just named as we're joking, do you think there's someone out there that is really into WD-40 in that way?
Yes. Yeah, I do.
Isn't that
You ever seen
it's
that
a big
show,
world.
My Strange Addictions?
No.
I have not. Have you?
Uh-huh. It's on, I think, TLC. I think.
It's stuff like that?
Yeah.
Is TLC part of the letters?
Oh, that could be.
The only
Yeah.
reason
Yeah.
that I don't believe this, and it's the B, is because of the L. Nobody's
Which is-
attracted to Lindsey Graham.
I know. I thought that. I'm like, who are you?
That's not. That's
Show
not gonna
yourself.
happen. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there you go. I think that's about all we can squeeze into this B or not the B here on Friday.
Isn't that funny? Lindsey Graham was alone at Disney. Can't find someone to go to Disney with? Come on now, Lindsey Graham. 97.1 FM Talk.
If you can sense spring in the air, you're not alone. It's a perfect time to get Corel Roofing Company to come over and give you a free roofing inspection. Mark Cox here. You know, my friend Kurt
it here real quick because it started playing sounds. Remember that story we talked about yesterday, Ryan Wiggins, about the man who was accused of meeting up with women on a dating app, and they said they were sexually assaulted. And he took the stand and said he's actually the victim. The women were the aggressors, and he just went along with it. So he didn't do anything wrong. Apparently, he was convicted on 17 counts of his rape trial in St. Louis County Court today. So does that count as good news?
So he lost, and his defense didn't matter.
Right. Yeah, that was it. The jury was not buying it. So it says that Thursday morning, they formally submitted to the jury. They came back shortly before 3 p.m. yesterday, and he denied all 21 charges against him. Jury wasn't buying it. So shortly after the trial, it looks like, I'm trying to see when sentencing will pick up for this, but I think that's good news, right? Basically, I mean, of all the terrible headlines in there, I know it's not great of what he did, but at least he was going to be held accountable for it.
Yeah, if you have a jury that was willing to listen to some guy who raped people or whatever it was, say, I'm the victim, then we're lost. We have lost our way.
Yeah, exactly it. All right, so that's one thing. So I guess there's that. You mentioned this during Be or Not the Be before. What's going on with Kristi Noem's husband and wearing this prosthetic thing on his chest? What exactly is this? Okay. I just don't understand. This whole thing is so confusing to me because it is just like cartoonishly weird. I just don't understand. Was it a serious photo? Was it like a Halloween gag? What is the context of this thing?
I don't know either, because all I've seen is that photo of him wearing some chest prosthetic and people saying, yeah, he does this all the time. He's trans or he's
all
something.
The time?
Well, that's what people say. That doesn't mean it's true. That's just what they said. And I haven't really heard him address it. Maybe he did. It's just not broken through my algorithm.
Yeah.
But I do know that for a long time, people have rumored, and even beyond to the point where it was rumor, I think there are actual, real New York Post news stories and stuff about this, that Kristi Noem for a long time was married to him, but having an affair with somebody else in the sort of lower levels of the administration, and that they've known that for a long, long time.
Something else. It says at least, and this is the New York Post, at least 3 of Kristi Noem's loyal staffers were axed after following the scandal-ridden boss to her new State Department gig when she was booted from the Department of Homeland Security. 3 former staffer aides were placed on leave after Noem was sacked by DHS secretary and appointed a newly created role. Trio was allegedly ousted over their ties to Corey Lewandowski. Man, I haven't heard that name in a long time. Rumored to have been having an affair. So apparently New York Post is the one that said, was it Noem and Lewandowski were the ones that were the alleged affair? Is that
yeah, I wasn't going to say the name, but that's the
two. It's right there in the article.
Yeah.
Corey Lewandowski. Man, the whole prosthetic thing. What is this? I don't even know where to start with something like this. The first thing that comes to mind is it a mental illness thing? Even if you're joking, that's a weird thing to do.
I don't know. And specific to this case, that affair between Noem and Lewandowski has been known by everybody in their circles for a very long time, like way before even the 2024 Trump campaign for president. So It's not late breaking. This has been going on for a long time. And I've always wondered when I would hear that story, if it's so open and so known that those two are having an affair, where's the husband? What is he doing? Well, apparently he's been either traumatized or already had a lot of issues before this, and you don't know which was the chicken or the egg, but obviously he's got a lot of problems, and that marriage doesn't really exist.
Yeah. Why does that happen so often where people keep on the charade for so long when they're not happy and they're obviously not together? Why bother? I just don't get it. Like, is it just like for political reasons? Like it would look bad if they broke up? Why do they? And then do you stick by them because, till death do us part? But if you're not helping them seek help for it and you're allowing them to go further into the delusion, then what do you do? This is a weird, wild world we live in. I don't understand today's world anymore, honestly.
Yeah, in the past, you'd say that a divorce was kind of politically scandalous, but now it's not. It's not at all. Nobody even cares if somebody gets divorced, or for the most part, people barely care if people are having affairs. And so I'm not sure why Kristi Noem chose to hide this in a way, but it wasn't hidden because if you were around, you knew it was going on. So it wasn't even hidden. So yeah, it's a mess. The whole thing's a mess.
All right, so here's a good story. How about I share a good story to try to turn this around? Another story about a Chick-fil-A worker. He was doing his thing, and of all the different workers, I would say Chick-fil-A is like at the top of niceness. Like, can you think of a fast food place that has nicer people working for them than Chick-fil-A? I would dare anyone to come up with an answer.
They're the best.
So 18-year-old Chick-fil-A worker, North Carolina, went to the bathroom and found nearly $10,000 in cash left behind in the bathroom. They had like the little envelopes that they were in. It was like $9,300. And part of the envelopes had the bank information on it. So he knew like, oh boy, someone must have left this here, close to $10,000 withdrawn. And his first thought was, this is not for me. Something is wrong. We need to find who this belongs to. So instead of pocketing the cash and not saying anything, I'm not going to say what chicken places would do that, but not Chick-fil-A. He went over and went to his bosses and said, hey, we got a situation here. Someone left this money in our bathroom. So they decided to call law enforcement. And since it was still in the envelopes with the bank, it made it a lot easier to track down the person. And it was nice because they're all saying, hey, give this guy a reward. He deserves it. The rightful owner gave the guy $500 for his honesty.
That's the world I want to live in, Ryan.
Isn't that?
That's Pleasantville right there. I want that to be America.
No, name literally any other franchise that would operate the same way.
Smoothie King.
What? Smoothie King?
I don't know.
Yeah,
they remind me of Chick-fil-A because they have a catchphrase too. Chick-fil-A is always my pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever you leave Smoothie King, they say, we appreciate you. And I'm like,
okay, that's really nice.
It's nice. I think you're supposed to say it, but I'll take it.
Do you think the $500 reward's a little bit low? Do you think they could have done a little bit more for the...
What was it, 10 grand?
Yeah. Or is that good?
I don't know.
I think that's about right.
It seems like if you were in a position where you'd lost the 10 grand and you weren't sure if it was going to come back, you would be desperate enough to say, look, I'll give somebody half if they can return it.
Mm-hmm.
But once it comes back, giving somebody $500, it's not quite 10%. It's 5%. Yeah, I think it's okay.
How desperately, I guess, if let's say this was you and you're going to buy a car and you're going to pay for it with cash and you're like, you know what, I'm just going to hop by Chick-fil-A real quick. One last rodeo to Chick-fil-A with the old car. So you hop over there and you leave the money in and you're like, I don't know what I did with it. There's no way I would ever have left it in the Chick-fil-A bathroom. How distraught are you in that situation? Like, would you essentially start like feeling nauseous and throwing up that you'd lost $10,000? Like, how do you think that person felt?
My gosh, I just can't imagine not being more careful with an envelope with 10 grand in cash in it, because you know that it's not. Well, it's not. Somebody could easily take it and you'd never see it again. So I don't know, man. I think I would be really mad at myself first of all.
Yeah. Can I tell you something really stupid I did once with money? So this will be easier if anyone's watching the live feed right now. And Wiggins, you can probably see this. So I sold a truck to someone privately, $15,000. It was a somewhat, at the time, that was a pretty good deal for the person. So I said, you know what? I know how these things work. Sometimes I read about scams. So I'd prefer if we just went to your bank and we can just give me the money and we'll sign it all over at the bank. We'll sign everything. You'll have the title. It'll all be yours. We'll transfer it over all at once and I'll get the cash and then I don't have to worry about it. He said, fine. So we go over to the bank and the bank's like, we don't normally keep this much cash around. I'm like, you're a bank. What do you mean you don't keep this much cash around? They said, normally people that are going to withdraw this much money, they call ahead to give us a heads up because, we just don't have like giant stacks of money like Scrooge McDuck. But they said, okay, we'll do this for you, but next time if you ever do this, then go ahead. So here's what ended up happening. They gave me the money and none of it was in an envelope. None of it was in a bag. I did not anticipate for this. So I lifted my shirt up and I had them put the cash in my shirt like this, like I'm carrying it like a child.
Okay.
$15,000. And I'm walking out of the bank and I'm like, this is no way to handle your money because I have to take it to my bank at this point. And I'm holding it like this. In a situation like that, I could have very easily dropped one and wouldn't even have known. I would have known. I was like holding it like a child. But I can understand how sometimes that happens to people where it slips and they don't notice.
So you did $15,000 and the bank was saying, that's too much.
Yes, they
That's
told me that.
Crazy. How long ago was that?
This would have been in 2013, maybe.
$15,000 isn't that much in cash to have if you're a bank.
I know. You would have been surprised. You thought, wait a minute. If there was a run, like It's a Wonderful Life or whatever, and they're like, okay, the money's in the Mr. Smith's house and the money's over in, no, they should literally have that on hand at any given time. I was a little concerned when I heard that, and it makes you wonder, maybe there's some bankers that are listening right now. Do you not keep cash on hand for big withdrawals? Maybe they can type in the YouTube chat right now because I'm very curious.
Well, they still did it for you. I'd say one thing that drives me crazy right now, you had a conversation with Kush Desai about inflation in the last hour.
Mm-hmm.
Now that you have to spend more for everything, and you mentioned like, I can't even get a Happy Meal for $7 or a value meal for $7. Well, if you go to take your family to a just moderate restaurant like Qdoba or something, you're going to spend $50 or more just to get 5 meals, probably more than that. So it still astonishes me that when I hand over 100, they're like, I don't know if we can cash 100. You're already closer to 100 than you are to 0.
Yeah.
Why can't I hand over 100 when I'm getting less than if you have just a lot, if you're buying a $3 item and you hand over 100, that's one thing. But I don't understand why restaurants are so hesitant to use hundreds now.
Yeah. This isn't a garage sale. Like you're coming over here and you're buying a low-end item and you want me to make change for 100. No, this is a business. Like you have to expect that people are going to come in with large currency. By the way, Fox News Radio's Eben Brown's going to join us after the break. There's a lot that's been unfolding in the Middle East. He'll bring us the very latest. We're going to get to that. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry, 97.1 FM Talk.
This is attorney Todd Nissenholtz of Kaufman Townsley. Injured at work? Not choosing the best lawyer will cost you. But here's the good news. Since you don't pay unless we win, you can afford the very best. Kaufman Townsley. Call 314-777-7777.
At a local speed dating event, homeowners weren't looking for love. They were looking for the one.
Honey, I got the best news.
What, you installed all the ceiling fans?
No, I found the one.
Oh, I thought I was the one.
Yeah, you are, but this one is certified, background check, and everyone was fighting over him. Plus, he can install all the ceiling fans.
Okay, who is this guy?
A Jerry Kelly technician.
For heating, cooling, electrical, or plumbing, find the one for your home. Schedule today at
JerryKelly.com. Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-948-7878. That's 800-948-7878.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hey, welcome back. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry. I don't know that song. I think I've known every song that you play for bumper music except for that one. Do you know what that is? Is that like Oasis or something?
Belinda Carlisle.
Oh, really?
I don't know the song either.
What's Belinda Carlisle known for? What's like their popular song? I don't even know.
I don't either.
Yeah, that one took me by surprise. We're waiting on Eben Brown. Is that right? He's going to be calling in here in a second. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk to him, which will be really nice. Are there any developments there? Because that's the big question we'll have to ask him. And I think when the vice president gets to Pakistan, we'll be able to talk a little bit more about what exactly is going on with these negotiations. J.D. Vance going over. That's going to be an interesting one. You think meeting in person is going to help in a situation like that, or do you think he's going to be too aggressive? Because I know Donald Trump's pretty aggressive with in-person negotiations, but do you remember what happened when Zelensky was in the White House and how J.D. Vance is like, you didn't even thank him once after everything we did. Do you think J.D. Vance will be able to, pull this off, or do you think that this will be one of those deals where he's like, hey, we don't have to negotiate with you at all. You're even lucky you're allowed a place at the table, so you better get in line. Do you think he's going to lay down the law or maybe be a little more sensitive?
Not sure. It really depends on Vance at all, because the story that I'm looking at right now says that 3,200 vessels have piled up outside the Strait of Hormuz waiting to go through, a lot of those being oil vessels, and that the ceasefire, while still intact because nobody's firing on each other, is the agreement is really not being upheld if Iran is still blocking the strait. So, I'm not sure that there's going to be a lot of negotiation to happen if they're not keeping up their end on it. It'll just be over.
Right. So we're still waiting on Eben. Is that right? Okay. Do you think that it's mostly a threat of trying to sink these ships is what's stopping them, or they're physically blocking them? Like, remember the game Red Rover when you were a kid and you'd like all stand on the playground, you'd all hold hands and they would send someone over and you'd try to like stop them from getting past you. Is it something similar to that going on at the Strait right now?
Yeah, that's what's going on. I don't think anything's been blown up, but the UAE minister actually is up on a quote from Fox News right now saying the Strait of Hormuz is absolutely not open. So I don't know if he's getting that from Iran or if he's just saying what he's seeing, but this is 2-3 days into it, and they're already backing out, it looks like, of the deal.
This is the way I think Donald Trump thinks. He sees things like this going on in the world, and he's thinking to himself, just wait until the stock market closes before these type of quotes get out there. Like, we can deal with this over the weekend. Don't tank the stocks before a Friday closure. Like, let's at least end, and then we'll try to get this back up before Monday morning so it doesn't mess everything up, because we finally saw some positive progress when it came to that. As soon as the idea of the Strait opening back up came into fruition, it's all of, it just popped right back up. We saw like a 12,000 day. We saw some gains following that. I know we're still not back up to 50,000, but almost like when he got COVID. Do you remember that weekend he got COVID where he waited until the stock market closed? They made the announcement, went to Walter Reed, got the treatment. Sunday night, he's at the White House waving, saying, I'm okay, because Monday morning came and he didn't want to make it look like the leader of the free world was sick. So I think he purposely did all those things to make sure the stock market wouldn't tank while he was getting treatment. So he purposely waited and manipulated in the sense that he didn't want to see the drops as soon as, the markets were about to close. I almost feel like in the back of his head, he wants the same situation here. Please don't say this stuff until we can work it out this weekend when the stock market's down.
Yeah, we tend to make major decisions on Friday nights that will affect the stock market on purpose. I think the last 2 or 3 times we've bombed Iran, it's been on a Friday night. I think the Maduro extraction, too, was on a Saturday night. So these are weekend ops.
Eben, we're not reaching him. Is that right? That's okay. Are you going to watch over the weekend? Let me say this. I'm not going to be monitoring what's going on in Iran as much as I'm going to be monitoring the splashdown tonight for the Artemis crew. My son's going to stay up late. We're going to watch coverage. It's going to be awesome. This is like one of those family bonding moments, honestly, to see them come back onto Earth. And we've watched SpaceX and we've watched splashdowns through them and astronauts come back. There's something special about them going around the moon and back over this 10-day mission and coming back safely. And this is like must-see TV for me tonight. Wiggins, are you going to be watching this with your family?
No,
What?
We were joking off air that this just hasn't captured my attention much.
Why?
I
Why
don't
not?
know. It doesn't feel like we're doing anything that new. And I recognize there are some aspects of this that we've never done before. I think this is the farthest we've ever flown in space. So that's cool. But excuse me.
Allegedly. Who knows? Maybe the Russians threw some stuff out there that they never tracked after the cosmonauts didn't come back. There could be hypotheticals of other countries lying to us like Russia, but probably not. This is probably most likely the furthest a human has ever flown from Earth.
So that's interesting, but I don't know. It doesn't. It just hasn't captured me.
No, your imagination should be running wild right now. You should be looking at this and saying, this is our Apollo moment. Like this is something that we should watch in wonder and awe and have a proud feeling in our gut for our country as our astronauts get back home. You get to watch it in real time. You get to see HD video of this stuff happening. They're going to bring all their pictures back. It's going to be a sight to see. They're going to wave to people. We're going to shed a little tear, and we're going to wonder, okay, when are we going back next, and what's it going to be like when we have astronauts on the moon again? And you can care less.
I will acknowledge I am probably very alone on this. We probably should have done a poll about this and asked if you cared about watching either the splashdown or just cared about the story at all.
Yeah.
But I think we did ask this story on Monday, and most people did care. We asked the poll.
Yeah, so it's over in San Diego is where they're going to be splashing down tonight. Little 8 o'clock Eastern, so 7 Central. It's going to be perfect. I mean, this is like, what else is on a Friday night? Like, what are you going to watch tonight that is going to be more entertaining than watching the astronauts come back, hopefully safely? And this is what everyone says. They're like, this is the riskiest part of all. Like, you're saying this part's riskier than when you had the giant explosion going off of their butts as they flew up into space. I know that the reentry and the friction and the everything else and the heat shields and the angles they come down in, they have to be just calculated so perfectly. But don't forget Apollo 13. I saw that Tom Hanks movie. They weren't even, I know it was a backup plan, but that capsule got back just fine as a backup. I think this one can handle it.
See, I didn't even really like that movie. I don't like reality-based TV and reality-based movies very much.
Is space just like a blind spot to you?
No, I like fictional space stories. I just don't really care for the real ones. And I can answer your question of what I'm doing tonight. I take my sons to one Cardinal game a year. That game is tonight.
Oh, neat. Who are the Cardinals playing tonight?
Boston.
Oh, okay. That's going to be a good one. Hope so. Are you hoping for a brawl? Like, what would be an ideal thing to happen tonight that we can wish for? Big team brawl?
I want a giant blowout with lots of home runs so that there's lots of fireworks so that the kids are excited.
Yep.
And we're sitting in those all-inclusive Big Mac land seats where you just get to eat whatever you want and drink whatever you want.
Really?
So my hope is to take full advantage of that with lots of home runs.
Do the kids get ice cream and stuff with that?
I don't know yet. We haven't sat in these yet. This is a new thing they're doing this year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're really going to enjoy it. The kids are going to love it. And too bad we couldn't hook up with Eben Brown there. Hopefully we'll be able to do that sometime soon. When we come back, did you see the story about the
Ultima Morgan
that are suing New York? This is a great lawsuit. I actually really like this lawsuit, and I think this could lead to even more coming up after the break. I'm Ryan Renker, filling in for Annie Fry, 97.1 FM Talk.
I'm Ultima Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Every time one of my children started driving, it was terrifying. Thousands of accidents happen across the country. We see it every day. If you've been injured in a car accident, call us.
Dial # law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
What if you had a plan to build income outside your job? At Lifestyles Unlimited, you'll learn how people are investing in real estate to grow their income and make smarter financial choices one property at a time. Right now, join us for just $297. That's a savings of $443 off our real estate education program. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
We've been here 30 years. 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right nice soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
It just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield, where luxury meets comfort. Mark Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
Today's YouTube live chat poll, we are simply asking you, how often do you go to church? Is it never? Is it just holidays, monthly, or weekly? We haven't talked about it a whole lot, but we are getting some comments on the YouTube live chat comment section as people are voting. And then, of course, you can text in your answer, as a few have done, 314-241-9797. In fact, I'm going to try to find one of those that says weekly. This person goes weekly. Makes each week go much better to be in church. I need the forgiveness of sins and the quiet moments to spend with my family, remembering and refocusing on what's important. Let us know what you think about this question, just out of curiosity. I think we're just wondering if these are church-going people listening to the Annie Fry Show. 314-241-9797. It is 1:31. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Born in the Midwest, built on common sense. FM Talk. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis conservative.
See, I know this song. This is Ryan Wiggins' version of Fireworks by Katy Perry.
Thank you.
Right. You sound good here.
Thank you very much. This is me.
You really should one day just drop all cover music where you cover all the bumper music for the show. I would love to hear that.
I think Andy's trying to do that already.
Is that right?
Yeah, we'll see if that happens.
AI Wiggins, perhaps. You could drop it in an AI and figure that out. Looks like we have from Fox News Radio, their national correspondent, Eben Brown. How are you, sir?
I'm well. How are you today?
Good. You know, it seems like this is an ever-changing and shifting story when it comes to what's going on, not only in the Middle East, but just anywhere in the world. The stories change so quickly. So it feels like once you read an article about the Middle East, like an hour later, you're like, oh, there's something new to report about it. It feels like as a reporter, it must be very difficult for you to keep up on it.
Well, you know, there's a changing story, as you mentioned. It's a dynamic story, but I'm also we've sort of been down this road with Iran for, 47 years. So it's really not all that surprising that this would happen. I'm not particularly surprised that this supposed ceasefire doesn't really seem to be panning out. That they are pretending to not know the original terms that were agreed upon, and so on and so forth. This is really par for the course for them. They are they're not a believable entity on really anything. So
yeah. It's where a lot of people look at that and they say, okay, why do they even have a seat at the table here? Like, why are we negotiating with them? And what's the point? Because we know that even if you were to negotiate, they're not going to uphold it. So it's kind of like a no-win situation in some ways for the United States.
Well, it may just be that President Trump is, giving them the chance to do the right thing and to see where they're at. If in fact, I just put it this way: President Trump likes the whole carrot and stick approach. And he's hanging a carrot out in front of them. And if they don't really do the right thing, he has an even bigger stick than the one he's been using for the past 5 weeks. So I don't, and we've been seeing this announcements or tweets out of the president for the past hour or 2 hours saying, don't do this, don't screw this up. I mean, I forget the exact words he was using it, but basically saying we're rearming our military. We're getting even the bigger stuff out now if Iran doesn't do the right thing. So the pressure is really on them, but at the same time, we're dealing with a despotic and suicidal death cult that has been running Iran for 47 years. So when you are dealing with people like that who believe that their ultimate goal is to be martyred, sometimes you have to oblige them. And that might just be what happens here. So we'll see how it goes. I don't have particularly high hopes that the Iranians will do the right and good thing, and that is to say, we've lost. We're going to go away now. We'll let something else come and run this country and engage with the world in a peaceful manner while we just kind of go over here and fade into history. I just don't see that happening.
Right. So bordering Iran is Pakistan, who's going to host a meeting, and our vice president's going to be there. Doesn't that seem a little risky right about now after Iran's still shooting missiles off?
Well, Iran is not going to shoot missiles, I think, at Pakistan. But Pakistan
they're crazy.
Itself is not Pakistan itself, well, he's right. I mean, they are, right? I mean, they've been shooting at Qatar, of all places. It's the one country in the Middle East that's been, giving them, diplomatic cover all this time. But I suspect that things won't go well in Pakistan. First of all, Pakistan itself is not exactly trustworthy and not exactly safe. We've had to cut short diplomatic visits there in the past because things were truly not safe and the government couldn't assure the safety of our people. So I don't suspect things will go well there, but I don't suspect things will really go well at all. The Iranian regime, like I said, they are suicidal, but at the same time, they have been used to getting their way for 47 years, whether it's with the United States or European powers, where someone agrees to kick the can down the road and give them a little time and this, that, and the other thing, and ultimately they get their way if they're just patient. We saw that with the JCPOA. We've seen that in other times in the past. So I think they think that they can do this again, even though they're sitting there with, their arms blown off already.
Yeah, and the next person that goes into the seat understands the same fate will hit them if they don't oblige. So I don't even know what Iran has left at this point, other than they're just going to the only negotiation tool they have is we'll keep doing this until we're wiped off the map. Like that's their negotiation tool, complete destruction of themselves. It doesn't seem like they're in tune with the idea of getting any benefit out of this.
No, they're not. And again, one of the things that they're very good at doing is delaying. They know how the American system works, and they know that in 2028 they have a chance for another Barack Obama or Joe Biden, someone who will take the pressure off of them. And they're very patient, very patient.
Well, yeah.
And so if they can just sort of hold on, they understand that they're up against a wall, but if they can just hold on, and if they can create the political pressure on President Trump to lay off them, they know that they can just hold on a little while longer and get back to where they were in some other way or some semblance of that. And I don't think President Trump wants to see that happen again. If anything, President Trump has kind of told Europe to go shove it. So that pressure seems to be gone. It's true. I mean, Europe hasn't helped at all with this. Now, we didn't expect necessarily Europe would go fight against the Iranians, but we thought that perhaps maybe Europe would have been interested in ensuring that their fuel supply gets out of the Strait of Hormuz, because that's not the U.S.'s fuel supply right there.
Right.
We have our own oil, but when you have less oil transiting out of the Strait of Hormuz, it puts pressure on the prices around the world to go up because oil is traded globally. So that's why our oil is more expensive, even though our oil is not being, the supply of our oil isn't affected. But if Europe can't get their oil from the Middle East, it tries to buy our oil. And that's what drives up the price. And so and Europe was taking a very cowardly way out of this, saying, well, we'll just buy the American oil. Now, yeah, we'd love to sell them oil, but at the same time, we still want the global supply of oil to match global demand to keep prices in check.
Right. Well, you go back to the Obama administration and Biden. It's so my assessment, the way I look at this is they don't want them to have nukes. We don't want them to have nukes during the Trump administration. No one wants them to have nukes, Iran being them. So the idea was what we'll do is we'll incentivize you. If you do it in your own volition, we'll just give you money. We'll pay you off. We'll make things better for you. If you go down this route, we'll make it worth your while. And they said, okay, well, of course they were lying about it, but we get to the point where it's Donald Trump in office and he said, we're not going to bribe you to do the right thing. We're going to give you the deadline, which is if you don't do the right thing, there are serious consequences to it. And we're going to show you what those serious consequences are. And what we've already done with so many different strikes is just like a tip of the iceberg is what Donald Trump is trying to put. Do you think that's the way to get through to Iran, to say we're not messing around anymore? This is the only way to get it through their skulls?
Yes.
Yeah. That's the language they speak.
That is the language they speak. And the problem is that, look, you don't win a war by coming to an agreement to ceasefire and talk it out. You win a war by making the other side capitulate, to making it so inhospitable for them to continue doing what they were doing. You make them cry uncle. You make them be miserable. We did that with Nazi Germany. We did that with Imperial Japan. And yes, it was brutal. Yes, it took a long time. We lost a lot of American lives in that war. But look how it turned out. Germany became an economic powerhouse, and despite the silly Europeanness, generally our ally. Japan became an economic powerhouse and our ally. Things got better when we eliminated the bad people and we allowed the goodness to flourish. We could probably do the same with Iran. Now, I don't want to get bogged down into a 3 or 4 year long war. But I don't think we have to either. That's the other thing. But we also have to, I think, keep the eye on the ball here, and that is to say we are dealing with despotic people. We're dealing essentially with Nazi Germany against very similar how the Islamic Republic operates, very similar to Nazi Germany. And right now, if we have the top level decapitated, and you have the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, running things, which they may just be, you have the SS running the Third Reich. That's kind of what it's like. So you're dealing with, we killed the Ayatollah, we killed these guys, but now you've got the even more hardliners who are the true believers even below them, and they're out for blood. So can you really make a deal with them? I don't think so. Perhaps you give them the chance, but they're proving right now they're blowing it.
Yeah. Is there such thing as a good regime? Like, how do you find someone to turn the keys over to that's not going to just slip right back into where we are today?
Well, that means proper monitoring. I think, for instance, Venezuelan Americans hate the fact that Delcy Rodriguez is in charge of Venezuela right now. She's just as corrupt and with an awful, awful history as Nicolas Maduro, her last boss. But she's playing by the rules. She's doing what President Trump wants her to do. She's freeing political prisoners. She's agreeing to reforms. So she's agreeing to hold eventual free elections. Now we have to hold her feet to the fire. And even though those elections mean she's out of power, she knows that if she doesn't follow the right path here, she gets Maduro'd. The same thing happens to her. So she's not a good person, but she's behaving. And that means things can proceed. Do we have the ability to do that with someone in Iran? I don't know. I don't know if there is a bad person who's pragmatic. Let's put it that way. So, and we may not have someone like that because of, again, the Venezuelan regime was corrupt but not fanatic. These are fanatics, and it's a different, you're dealing with some different psychology.
Wow. If you're writing a script for a movie or a TV show, a bad person who's pragmatic makes the show a lot more exciting.
Yes.
I like that. If people wanted to look you up online, some of the work you're doing and some of the places you're going, where can they find you?
Well, I'm on X with a rather boring feed at Fox Eben Brown on X. But the Fox News Rundown is our twice daily podcast. I'm one of the rotating hosts on that, and we have some pretty good interviews with some pretty good insights. So we encourage people to take a listen. Thank you.
Great. Any big ones that we should check out?
Yeah, I mean, every so often we get a good one, and usually we have a lot of really great analysts that come and give us some really good perspectives and just some things you won't hear anywhere else. I mean, one of my all-time favorites, we had him on I think not too long ago, is a gentleman by the name of John Spencer. He's a military analyst and a war historian and an educator, and he just has some very keen insight on the nitty-gritty fighting of wars and how they are done, especially urban warfare. And he just brings about an amazing perspective. And if you anywhere where you can hear him, he's great. I sing his praises all the time. So
also, the way you illustrated Iran with the SS taking over, that to me summed up and made it so much easier to understand. You're very good at this, Eben Brown. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.
Fox News Radio national correspondent Eben Brown. Go check him out online at Fox Eben Brown Twitter. I'm Ryan Recker filling in for Andy Fry on 97.1 FM Talk.
Baby, you're a firework. Come on, let your colors burst. Make 'em go,
97.1 FM Talk, proud to partner with Missouri Right to Life.
This is Steve Rupp, president of Missouri Right to Life. Join us at our Make Missouri Pro-Life Again banquet with keynote Riley Gaines on May 20th in St. Charles. Go to the Missouri Right to Life website for details.
The Retirement Advisory Group, you can call them right now at 314-993-9494 and connect with the greatest people. Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, Tammy Kershaw. These people are kind, but they are super knowledgeable when it comes to hooking you up with a worry-free retirement. Doesn't that sound nice? If you're worried about losing your nest egg in the next market correction, if you are curious, you're wondering, maybe a little anxious about how long the money that you've saved, that effort, that sacrifice you've put in, how long is it going to last you? Are you going to be able to travel? Are you going to be able to go visit the grandkids, see the sights, or maybe, invest in a Florida retirement home, maybe a cabin in the woods, whatever your thing is, you've had this dream and you want to know if it's going to be attainable, if it's time to retire. Call the Retirement Advisory Group. They are your key to a worry-free retirement. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494, retirementkey.com.
License number GL250000615.
We've seen all kinds of clogs, so remember the rule. Only flush 3 things. Number 1, number 2, and toilet paper.
What about my dinosaurs?
No.
My monster truck?
Nope.
What about...
If it's not the big 3, don't flush it.
But if someone does flush a dinosaur...
Call Grasser. We clear the clog and get things moving again.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is proud to support Greater St. Louis Honor Flight. Sign your veteran up for their honor flight today at gslhonorflight.org. And for HVAC services, aircomfortservice.com.
Is your driveway cracked or your sidewalk sinking? Buckeye Concrete can fix it. From concrete lifting and leveling to full replacement, they bring over 25 years of experience to every project. Quality concrete work that lasts. Get your free estimate today at BuckeyeConcreteInc.com.
Just a reminder here on the 10th of April that we have a YouTube live chat poll every day. The question today is, how often do you go to church? One person has texted in just the last couple minutes, 314-241-9797, saying weekly. But I must say that I'm disappointed that daily is not a poll choice. No love for devout Catholics? No, it's not true. We just had to figure out which of the 4. You only get 4 choices. So it never had to be one. Only holidays had to be one. And then I had to decide whether I would do monthly and daily or monthly and weekly. It just seemed like weekly was had to be in there. So that's what we did. So you're choosing weekly. Thank you for voting in the poll, and thank you for texting. Let us know what you do with church. What's your church life like by voting in the YouTube live chat poll and leaving a question or a comment, not a question. You can leave a question if you want to. 148. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com.
Annie Fry is St. Louis conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry at Ryan Recker, if you want to find me on there. I like this YouTube poll. I think it's a good one. I go weekly. Do you have to be an old lady to go daily?
I don't
Pretty
know.
much.
The person that just texted that, I don't know who they are. They didn't say who, how old they are or what their situation was, other than the fact that they're Catholic. So I guess that person goes daily. And I guess that
Monthly,
is a Catholic church thing. You can go daily to Catholic church.
I got to tell you, I didn't know that was an option when I was going to Catholic school, that there was people going every day to service while we were in school. I don't think I ever saw them. Didn't know that was a thing, except on Fridays. Fridays was the day at Catholic school. You'd go and you do the whole school would come together for Mass. So that seemed to work out pretty well. But I don't remember outsiders being welcome to that. So maybe that took the place of it. And I thought that was a lot of times the neighborhood church would put that on. And back in the day, when you lived in a neighborhood that had a church, it was like a community thing. It doesn't seem like that exists much anymore with the community churches inside of a neighborhood where everyone would use that as the center place to go to. Unfortunately, I have a couple. And talk about the Catholic Church and the nuns. Do you see the lawsuit that was filed in New York?
No.
This is a good one. So you have the Roman Catholic nuns, and they have this special 42-bed facility where they take care of terminally ill cancer patients. They do it for free. They don't take insurance. They don't take money from the government. They do it for charity to help terminally ill cancer patients in New York City. And New York City didn't like the way they operated because they weren't LGBT friendly.
Oh, no. I did not even see this coming in the story.
The state said you need to comply with the law, and the nuns, who are for free making it their life mission to help cancer patients that are terminally ill live out the rest of their life with some dignity and helping these people, have to sue the state and the health department to say it's a violation of their First Amendment rights that protects their religious freedom. And is it just a sad state of affairs that we even have to get to this point where a state would even bother nuns helping terminally ill patients?
I'm not even sure, from listening to that report, how sexuality even comes into this story. Because it doesn't matter if you get cancer. I don't understand how that's even a part of this. I will say that I remember when the Supreme Court ruled in favor of gay marriage. I think it was 2015. And no, it was before that, because certain states had already passed gay rights marriage laws. And so it was kind of spotty around the country there for, probably about 6 or 7 years, where some states you could, some states you couldn't. And I remember when Massachusetts was the first state that passed it, gay marriage, and they immediately had to shut down. I shouldn't say had to, they wanted to. They chose to shut down a whole bunch of Catholic charities in Boston primarily that weren't gay friendly because they adopted children, and they hadn't explicitly said that they would or wouldn't adopt to gay couples, and they shut down foster agencies in the name of gay rights.
Isn't that something? It's like that. I remember kind of a similar thought here in St. Louis. Do you remember when organizations were trying to feed the homeless in downtown St. Louis? I mean, there's a lot of homeless organizations down there. Larry Rice was someone that's been advocating this since the late, I want to say 80s, maybe even earlier than that. It's probably even earlier than that. And he does this all without government money. He does this all on his own. But he says every night they would have his people go through and check in on the homeless people. And he got to know each one because he was seeing them so regularly. And they would give him things like sandwiches. And one of the people were ticketed by St. Louis police because they said, you don't have a permit to hand out food to the homeless. Well, eventually the story gets out there. And the police decide, well, we're going to rip up that ticket. And they said, too late. We're bringing a countersuit because we want to make sure this doesn't happen to anyone else. We need to make sure that this is, you're violating us as an ability to feed the homeless. So you see that sometimes people hassling others who are trying to help people, legitimately are helping people. Here's another church story here. And this is over Birmingham Live is the website. This is over in the UK. It says, woman pastor charged after man in his 60s dies in Birmingham baptism ceremony. So first thing I thought of was when I look for churches, can I just say, if I find that there's a female pastor, it's automatically a no for me. I'm just going to say that because that's just something I think is biblically true. So when I see this, I think, okay, there's something going on that's more liberal and kind of like new age when it comes to churches. When you see this sort of thing, it says the woman pastor charged with gross negligent manslaughter following a baptism ceremony. Cheryl Bartley, 48, faces a charge of gross negligence manslaughter over her role as pastor during a baptism, and she's due in court next month. Apparently, the person had a medical emergency while having the baptism, and the person ended up dying. Was giving so I guess that could happen to anyone, but that's an interesting thing. You ever heard of anyone getting hurt during a baptism?
No, I would like to know how this person got hurt. Did they have a heart attack or something?
It looks very similar. All they did was say medical emergency. So I think they're purposely trying to be more sensitive to the person. So this happened back in 2023, and now there's all kinds of other things going on. Charged with manslaughter. I don't know what you could have done differently.
Yeah, why did they
baptism.
charge her with manslaughter, or whoever was doing the baptism? If
Yeah.
it was a heart attack, that's just random.
Well, is it the reason? Okay, so let's say you're in the baptismal and okay, this is maybe where the female side comes in. The guy's bigger than you. You dunk them in, they have a heart attack, and you're not strong enough to lift them out. Then the person drowns in the water because it sounds like the person, this is part of it. They had a medical emergency, drowned in the water, couldn't get back up.
I don't know that I've ever seen a church where only one person could have access to the baptismal. Now, it might take a minute to get there depending on the church. Like if you have to go back through the old stairs and you know up into the top part of that, you know.
I guess there's
the background.
private ceremonies. You don't see that a lot, though, do you? Private ceremonies for baptisms?
Normally, the whole point of it's public.
Yeah, normally there's family or someone else that's there, or deacons or something like that. So why would by the way, they charge her with manslaughter if it was a medical emergency accident? That seems pretty excessive, doesn't it?
It really does. It seems unnecessary. Like law enforcement got involved in a place where they didn't need to get involved.
I think something like that, you could have said, listen, this is a tragic, unexpected event that happened, and obviously you're not the reason they had the heart attack, right? You're listening to the Andy Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. We are in the 6th hottest real estate market in the country, Stewie. What can buyers in St. Louis do to gain that advantage with you?
You know what, Mark? It's real simple. Number one, the bagel loan. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. No closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, no appraisal fees. The big bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. Take that money you're saving, add it to the bid, beat all the other offers out. Number two, we give you the power of the pre-approval letter. What does that mean? We pre-approve you for the maximum amount that you qualify for. You can then go into our portal and edit the letter and raise it or lower it to any amount you want up to the amount you pre-approved. No waiting for the loan officer, no waiting for anybody else. It's all in your hands. And the third thing, we can close in 10 days. That's a big deal. If you go to the seller and say, hey, here's my offer. It may not be the best, but we can close quick. Everybody else is 30 days out. You know it's going to happen quickly with our reputation. Big bam, boom, you got the house of your dreams.
Call or text Stewie at 314-324-4440 or Google the Bagel Loan. NMLS number 226715. Doctors at Ophthalmology Associates. We call them the doctors because they've treated more than 250 doctors, more than any other practice in St. Louis. So if you're looking for the best doctors for your best vision, it's Ophthalmology Associates. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. Doctors Birdie and Malhotra are cornea surgeons and experts in the diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye. I had an eye disease when I was younger. It left me with a silicone buckle around my right eye, so I put my trust in Ophthalmology Associates to take care of my annual checkups. Maybe you're experiencing dry eye, allergy eyes. They can help. They can help with cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, and LASIK surgeries. And if you're looking for the best eye care, it's Ophthalmology Associates. Make an appointment today by calling 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com. They have a great office location just west of 270 on Manchester Road. Again, the phone number, 314-966-5000. The website, youridoc.com. Ophthalmology Associates.
To have a roof over your head, a nice roof over your head, is very important.
That's Rick talking about his experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago, and they were very cooperative on getting us the right paint. They were in and out and done in no time. Once it was finished, looked great. We were very happy with it.
The main reason Rick called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by a 25-year transferable warranty.
We've watched a lot of people get their house painted 3 or 4 times, and we haven't had to do any of it. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to have to paint it every 5-7 years.
Take a tip from Rick and put down the paintbrush and call Rhino Shield for your free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
We got Rhino Shield 18 years ago. Financially makes sense, especially if it's going to last like this did. Still looks great.
Call now. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Democrats for a brutal Florida murder. I'm Carmen Roberts, Fox News. The president posted a graphic video last night allegedly showing a Haitian man in this country illegally using a hammer this month to bludgeon a woman to death in Fort Myers, Florida.
This senseless act has shocked our community and underscores the critical importance of immigration enforcement.
Kelly Walker with the Icefield office in Miami told reporters a short time ago that 40-year-old Robert Joaquin confessed to the murder and that the Biden administration let him, an undocumented migrant, stay in the country.
The prior administration allowed him to be released into the United States and subsequently granted him temporary protected status, giving him a legal safeguard to remain in our country. As of yesterday, the Trump administration stripped that safeguard, and his protections are now revoked.
Joaquin's TPS actually expired in 2024. He is jailed in Lee County, Florida on murder charges. It's splashdown day. In just a few hours, the Artemis II astronauts will return to Earth after their historic mission that took them farther into space than anyone in history. During that moon flyby, Fox's Jonathan Seary is at Johnson Space Center in Houston.
A Navy recovery ship is already out at sea off the coast of San Diego. The USS John P. Murtha has divers, doctors, and other specialists ready to recover the capsule and the astronauts inside it after splashdown.
And that's expected to happen at 8:07 p.m. Eastern Time. Vice President Vance is on his way to Pakistan to lead the U.S. delegation in peace talks tomorrow with Iran. Before leaving, he warned Iran,
if they're going to try to play us, then they're going to find that the negotiating team is not that receptive.
Iran issued its own demands, that is, for a Lebanon ceasefire and for its assets to be unblocked or the talks would not proceed. America's listening to Fox News.
I move mountains for a living. Literally. That means I don't carry hand lotion, and when it comes to serious heartburn, I don't mess around with anything but Rolaids. Rolaids' dual-active formula has calcium carbonate and magnesium hydroxide that relieves heartburn fast. Yeah, you heard right. 2 actives for that powerful relief. And the best part? The roll fits right here in my pocket, so I can get back to moving mountains.
Rolaid spells powerful relief. Read each label. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
Clouds will dominate going through our Friday afternoon with a couple of scattered showers, 73 for the high. Tonight, clouds, a couple of scattered showers, fair amount of dry time, but we'll keep an eye on the sky, 53. The weekend, Saturday and Sunday, a mix of clouds and sunshine, nothing more than a couple of spotty showers in the mid to upper 70s. A lot of dry time over the weekend. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 56 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance and installation, and heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. AirComfortService.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
This ain't cutting it. This is not the intro I was promised would happen on a Friday night. Look all week. I look forward to it. I think I need the Ryan Wiggins special singing intro.
I blame Ethan.
Where was it?
Ethan didn't do his job is what happened, Ryan.
It's not too, we can still play it. I mean, we can just, it would sound weird, but it almost feels like it's a necessity to play that on a Friday.
We'll do it before the end of the hour.
All right. How about we just do it now?
If John can find it. I don't know.
Or can you perform it live? Is that possible?
No, not live. No, I'm still getting over being sick and I don't have much range.
Is everyone sick right now? Everyone's sick.
Everyone is sick in St. Louis right now. Everybody's got, that's why Brad's not here.
Mm-hmm.
There's multiple people out sick that I've talked to in other places too, and it's all the same stuff. It's like headache and cold.
Oh, I was sick earlier this week, and it was just one of those deals where the allergies all hit at the same time, and I was getting this drainage, mucusy stuff going down my throat. I had a sore throat. I had a hard time talking. It was miserable. And
that is exactly what I needed to hear.
They got someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
You need to take some time to get the full picture. Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
thank you for that. I really needed that. Oh, did I need that? Oh, man. Thank you for that. So the singing of it, do you have a hard time hitting high notes, low notes? Do you have a pretty good control of your voice?
No, I don't have very good control at all.
Is that auto-tune?
No, I didn't. That was all real. That was all natural. But
I love it, love it, love it. Thank you for humoring me on that, because as soon as I heard the regular intro play, I said, oh, we ain't doing this. We got to get the Wiggins version in there. So I'm glad we got that. Happy Friday to you. And I'm glad that you're going to get to take your kids to the game tonight. The weather look nice?
It's just starting to get a little bit sunny. So I think maybe the rain's starting to move out of this area right now.
Yep. Did you see what CNN did this week, where they posted the Michael J. Fox obituary online?
Yes, I did see this. My gosh.
Okay, well, so Michael J. Fox had to come out and say, I'm not dead yet, and that's a good thing. I love Michael J. Fox. I'm a big Back to the Future fan growing up. I think that's the movie I saw more than anything else was Back to the Future. And he even did a Curb Your Enthusiasm maybe 10 years ago. Did you see that episode where he was on it?
No.
It was hilarious. Well, famously has the Shakes with Parkinson's, and he has the Michael J. Fox Foundation. And part of it is, you see him in public, he still makes appearances, and he jokes about it. What did he say? Like, he made a joke the other day. He's like, I would prefer to die in my sleep, not because I tripped over some furniture, referring to him having a hard time moving around because of his condition. I thought that's great. I mean, I hope that, when you have certain things that are against you and it's out of your control, he still has this joking nature to it. I totally relate to that. It helps you understand and cope with it. It makes me, it makes me relate to him and like him even more. So maybe about 10 years ago, he did that Curb Your Enthusiasm. And the whole idea of the episode, which, is kind of like Seinfeld-like with Larry David, but, it may even be actually much better than Seinfeld, I think. The whole episode was Larry lived in the same building as Michael J. Fox, and Michael J. Fox used his shaking as a way to, do things to Larry. Like, for example, he would shake his drink and it would spill on Larry, and he's like, sorry, Parkinson's. And Larry's like, was it, or did you just do that because you wanted to spill something on me? So he like kind of like leaned into it, and Larry was always a little skeptical, like, was it really? And that's kind of like the gist of the episode. I think that is hilarious. So good for him to do stuff like that. So the obituary comes out on CNN, and they have to correct it, but this is how all news agencies work. It's kind of the morbid truth that once you get to a certain point, there's someone in the background at a desk that said, we better be prepared for this, so let's write this up now, and then we'll click send and be the first ones to have it. Unfortunately, newsrooms across the country have pre-written obituaries of pretty much everyone. That's the reality, the morbid truth to it all. And these things accidentally happen.
That they have pre-written obituaries for all celebrities?
Yep, presidents, I'm sure, I don't want to say, I'm wishing this or all, but I'm sure they have it written for Biden. They have it written for Trump. They have it written for Bush. They have it for Obama. Everyone, like major figures, I'm sure they have everything pre-written. So if something happens, they can get it on the air as quick as possible, as opposed to them trying to fact check and be late to the game. So even celebrities, Michael J. Fox is a big enough celebrity where they would want to do something like this. And it's not the first time. Sometimes websites do this where they accidentally click the send button and get that out there. It's just super embarrassing when it happens.
Now, are you talking about a montage of their work with, some voiceover? Is that what we're talking about here? Or is this just like a screen that says this person died?
No, basically online articles. So a lot of times they'll write, born this, known for this, did this in their life, passed away at, and then they have maybe the letter XXXXXX. So they fill in the blanks where you'd be able to, fill in the parts that would be necessary to complete the story. And every once in a while, these things come out there. But sometimes they maybe announce it a day before it happens. So they start to get a little heads up, like something may be happening. So when you see stories like this, you're like, uh-oh, is the end near? Is this going to happen to a beloved Michael J. Fox? You don't know. It could just be a mistake. So, of course, other news agencies CNN put the article out. It was a video tribute titled Remembering the Life of Michael J. Fox, was removed, issued an apology. They just post these things online.
So I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know that was a thing that they did. And the only reason that I can come up with for them having a pre-written article like that ready to go is that I guess in celebrity deaths or major figure deaths, every second matters, to where if you're the first person that gets it out, you're probably getting 100,000 clicks, more than that, I'm sure. And if you're the third person that gets it out, you're getting 50. It probably is a huge difference. That's the only thing I can come up with.
Yeah. I had a story that went national that I did this week, and even though I was the first one to have it, the TV station got much more clicks than we did, by far. So there was a story up here in Detroit where, and the only reason I found this story is because my wife avidly follows the neighborhood watch stuff online, like the different groups, neighborhood groups, and people share stuff on there that don't really make it to news organizations. And a guy had a Walmart delivery on Easter Sunday to his home, and the delivery driver shot and killed his dog. So there's a story here. So I talked to the guy. He says he believes the driver opened the door, dog got out when someone opened the front door, because they weren't home at the time when it happened. Delivery driver said, no, dog just busted through the door. I defended myself. There's no cameras, no witnesses. The guy's like, I wouldn't leave my home with the front door open. This don't make sense. The only way the dog could have got out is if this happened. But the guy's like, no, they busted through the screen door. That's the only thing that was open, and that's that. So that's kind of like the he said, she said, and really there's no way to defend it. So there's no way of knowing. But either way, the Walmart delivery driver shot the dog, and the dog ran off. The dog's gone, still missing. We don't know what happened to the dog. So I did the story. And next thing you know, the TV station does the story later that night. And then everyone's quoting the TV station, even though we had it first.
What a shame.
Infuriating.
What a shame.
And then People Magazine and all these national outlets start picking up on it. And they do quote us, but they also quote the TV station. But even though we had it first, it doesn't matter. It's just how it goes sometimes. Just so you know, did you know delivery drivers carry? Just think about that next time you have a package dropped off at your front of the house.
I did not know that. I don't know if the company knows that.
I called Walmart because I had to get a statement. I had to do my due diligence.
Yeah, what'd they say?
So Walmart said, this is the first we're hearing of it, so let me call you back. But I'll tell you this. Whenever you message, hey, I'm writing a story, I was looking for comment, sometimes they never reply. When you write in there, one of your drivers shot a dog, they're calling you 5 minutes later. They were on top of it. So they looked into it, and then they gave me a statement that they said it's not a statement. So basically they said it's not a formal statement, but he said, okay, the driver is a third-party person through Spark, and our policy is you can't illegally carry, meaning you can't just do something illegal. You can carry. They didn't say they're allowed to carry if it's legal. They just said you're not allowed to illegally carry. And that was their statement. And they were working with authorities because, police reports and stuff at that point. So they did respond. So I guess technically some places that do delivery do allow them to carry. I don't know if Amazon does or not, but we debated this. We said in the newsroom, do we even mention the delivery service? Because do you want to say Walmart as part of the story? And we're like, if we don't, they're going to assume it's Amazon. So we kind of have to almost, because it is part of the story. Specifically, they did give us something to add to the story, a quote. So then at least they have a response to it. They were given that opportunity. But that happened this week too. And no fake news there. And unfortunately, I text with the homeowner and they still haven't got the dog back, which is kind of sad.
Little tip, this is the best possible way to contact a company, and maybe you've tried this before. Use social media, specifically Twitter, and tag the company that you're talking about in a post.
Yeah.
And they will either respond to that post or they will direct message you pretty quickly if they're good. Some of them are just bad and they won't do it. But I've done that with Walmart before. I took a picture of a line just after Christmas and said, this is ridiculous. The line was so long that I think we ended up waiting 20 minutes to pay for your items. That's ridiculous. And so I tagged Walmart in the post immediately. Before I was even out of the line, they had contacted me.
Whoa,
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't really do anything about it, but they said they were going to talk to, not for me, but they said they were going to talk to the leadership there at that Walmart. They asked me which store and all that, and I told them, and they said they were going to talk to the leadership. I haven't had as many problems since then, so maybe it did work.
You are a miracle worker, is what they say. You need to go in kind of like that Undercover Rescue, whatever the bar guy is, where he goes in and he tries to fix restaurants. And I think Gordon Ramsay has a show like that too. You can do that for retail.
Restaurant Impossible.
Yep. And go in with your Twitter and just take care of business and make things better for people. We have Ethan coming in after the break. We're going to talk some sports with him. Very exciting. I'm Ryan Recker, filling in for Annie Fry on 97.1 FM Talk.
Girl, the autumn moonlight's my way. But now I smell the rain, and with it came, and it's heading my way.
Game day comfort steps up to the plate Saturday, April 11th, when the Cardinals face the Boston Red Sox downtown. That night, fans can score a Cardinals dugout hoodie presented by Mercy, built for cool nights, late innings, and early season baseball. It's a classic, easy-to-wear layer you'll reach for all year long. Available in medium or extra large while supplies last. Don't miss this spring matchup. Get tickets and details at cardinals.com/promotions.
Every Sunday home game is a Kids Sunday at Busch Stadium. From Team Fred Birding games to a kid-friendly DJ, ice cream, and family favorite activities. Sundays are built for young fans. Plus, select Sundays feature kids run the bases after the game. It's a day made for smiles, memories, and Cardinals baseball together. Make Sundays your family tradition at Busch Stadium. Tickets and details at cardinals.com/KidsSunday.
The ACA Market Plan has just announced significant increases on their monthly premiums for 2026, with deductibles over $10,000. You can enroll with Greg Hammond's Freedom of Choice plans now. You don't have to wait. One of their plans lets you use any doctor, has zero outpatient deductibles, and it's 30 to 60% lower than most Obamacare plans. Other options are full coverage PPOs with national networks, copays, and 100% annual preventative care. Also, there's no income disclosure required, so no potential tax penalties. If you pay for your own health insurance, you're uninsured, you're on COBRA, or your employer coverage is just too expensive, call Greg, and they'll provide all available options. Call 314-794-7784. That's 314-794-7784. Or go to greghammonds.com. That's greghammonds.com. He can custom design a plan managed and chosen by you, not the government.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Hold up. Check it out.
Sports and local.
Ethan Berger with an extra side of Eth.
That's a good one. That's one of my favorite ones.
It's one of your favorite ones.
I do like that one. How we doing, guys? Everything going good? It's
All right.
Friday.
How are you doing?
We got about 40 minutes until the weekend.
Ooh, you're doing a great job today, Ethan.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Working hard here for the Annie Fry Show.
Yes, you are.
97.1 FM Talk. Cardinals Red Sox this weekend. That'll be a fun series.
Going tonight.
Nice. I know some people are not a huge fan of it, but I love that you get to see every baseball team, American League or National League, come to St. Louis at least once every 2 years now. I think it's fun.
And I want the DH to go away.
Gosh, you old hag.
Yeah. Although I do like the being able to call, like, throw a flag on plays or whatever they're doing.
Oh, the ABS?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
like the ABS, the head tap?
Yeah.
You like that?
I like that.
I do too. No, I think it's fun to get to see the Yankees come to town. Oh my gosh, my microphone just fell. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I did.
Did you guys watch
You
that?
have to hold it the rest of the segment. Or move over.
I haven't. All right, if I try
Just
to
gotta
figure that
old
out
school
now,
it.
then that's going to take the entire time. My microphone literally just fell out of the stand.
John, if you wouldn't mind,
Great
while
radio.
he's talking, just go ahead and try to reattach that thing.
Well, there's got to be a missing screw that popped out, so hopefully that's on
I
the
can't
ground
find the
somewhere.
screw, so might be a long segment here. Okay,
He's
it's
like
okay.
a ringside ref.
We shall
They bring
overcome.
the microphone down the middle. You have to hold on to it like in a boxing match.
I literally don't see where that screw went, but it's fine. It's fine. We'll get over it. Oh, this is fun. The Blues 3-2 losers last night against the Winnipeg Jets, basically ending their season if it wasn't over already. They technically aren't mathematically eliminated, but their last two losses have pretty much done them in to where, I mean, it would have to be the perfect scenario for St. Louis to get in. So lost 3-2 last night. Dylan Holloway and Colton Parayko scored both goals for St. Louis. Right now, St. Louis has the 8th highest odds at the number 1 pick. And if you remember, Ryan Wiggins, back, what was this, probably 6 weeks ago when I really started cheering for the Blues to start losing a lot. Remember this?
Yeah, I remember.
At that point, the Blues had the 2nd highest odds for the number 1 pick. So when I started cheering for the Blues to lose and they started winning, a lot of people out there were like, they're winning. That's good, right? Well, in a certain way, yes, but also long term, it's really hurt their chances at getting a much better pick.
Is there a particular player that you're hoping they get from that draft pick?
There are 2 players that stand
you
out.
Want to be the 1 or 2?
That stand out far above the rest.
Okay.
And actually, one of them is a younger brother of someone that just made their debut this year for the Blues, and is supposed to be much better than him. So,
by the way, I looked at the odds of the Blues making the playoffs before last night's game, because now it's very, very low. But before last night's game, if they had won out all 6 of their final 6 games, their odds of making the playoffs were like 60%.
Wow.
If they won out.
But they had to win every single game. But that to me says your fate's in your own hands. You could do it. Obviously, they lost, so that is greatly diminished. But it was something like even 5 out of 6. So if they won the 5 that are remaining, their odds were something like 20%. So it's not dead, but they have to win every game.
And let's not forget just how long we discussed the fact that the Blues were unable to win 3 in a row this year before the past 6 weeks. I mean, it was literally the only updates we would give on the Blues is how close they were to having a winning streak. And until about 4 weeks ago, they had not done it all year long. So been a rough go in 2025-26 for the St. Louis Blues. St. Louis native James Gunn is going to be delivering St. Louis University's spring commencement address for his alma mater. The university announced this yesterday. Gunn, who graduated from SLU High School in 1984, earned a Bachelor of Arts from SLU in 1992 and credits the university in his development as a storyteller and filmmaker.
Yeah, if you're wondering just how successful James Gunn is, he directed the most recent Superman, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Suicide Squad, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and 1, and many, many other, especially superhero movies.
Yeah, he's doing all right, isn't he?
He's doing really well. He's kind of woke, but he's very talented.
It's pretty cool, though, to see just to see another very successful person out there attributing at least part of their success to St. Louis and to St. Louis University. So it'll be cool to have him back in town for that, for anyone trying to go. I'm not sure how exactly that works. It's on May 16th at 9 o'clock at Chapin Arena.
You're going to crash it?
The 97-1 faithful are just going to be lining the streets to go meet woke director James Gunn. It's going to happen. We're speaking it into existence here on Ethan Sports and Local. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about a potential expansion of the Gateway Arch National Park over to the Illinois side. This is not the only recent news to come out regarding the Gateway Arch Park and some riverfront revamp style stuff. The Arch Park Foundation is currently planning a major transformation of the downtown St. Louis riverfront, which includes a potential expansion and a reimagining of Interstate 44. So we talked about that expansion yesterday, but it also includes some changing of Interstate 44. The foundation is pursuing studies to examine expanding the park east, as well as evaluating how the I-44 corridor impacts downtown connectivity. These changes come amid upcoming infrastructure needs for the Poplar Street Bridge and the I-64 double-decker, driving new conversations about the future of downtown transportation. Ryan McClure, executive director of the Gateway Arch Park Foundation, emphasized the need for improvised connection through the downtown area, saying MoDOT is in the very early stages of a study of the downtown area. There are a lot of changes coming to the downtown area. MoDOT has had a lot of success with public-private partnerships, and we're excited to work with various partners in the area to see how to best take advantage of these changes. Also says any significant changes to I-44 projected to take 15 to 20 years to plan and complete. This timeline reflects the scope of the transformation as discussions evolve around improvement projects and stakeholder engagement.
I know that this does not affect everybody in our listening audience, but it will affect enough people that I'm going to mention it. It is driving me crazy. They built the Stan Musial Bridge. Not entirely related to your story, but it made me think of it.
Sorry.
They built the Stan Musial Bridge, and it was supposed to alleviate so much traffic. But if you cross it from Missouri into Illinois, anytime after 3:30,
is it bad?
They have reduced it to one lane for probably more time of its existence than it's been open for two. And it's down to one again right now because they're constantly having to update it. It's not that old of a bridge.
It's the newest bridge. It's like not even 15 years old.
So I'm not sure who screwed that up, but they never open up both lanes on that. It's not the approach, but it's like the departure from the bridge into Illinois. And if you know what I'm talking about, you are driving yourself crazy over it too because it never ends.
Do you take Stan Musial? Is that what you take?
It's supposed to be the quickest way home, but because of the problems with it constantly, I'll sometimes take other bridges just to avoid that. It's horrible.
That really sucks. I don't have to worry about that because I now live on the Missouri side, but when I do go home, that is the one that I take. Fortunately, my hours are kind of kind of avoid the rush hours. So, but that is unfortunate. One more story here before we wrap up sports and local. Got some zoo news here. St. Louis Zoo, Safari Park, and Conservation Center welcomed its newest animal earlier this year, according to the zoo. Is it Bactrian? Bactrian?
Is that the type of animal or the name of the animal?
No, that's the first. That's the first part of the name.
Oh, it's the name of the animal.
Bactrian camel. It's a Bactrian camel.
Oh, so it's a camel.
It's a camel. I just didn't know if it was A or A.
I don't know.
A Bactrian camel, maybe Bactrian, named Ruby, was born on February 27th at the Wild Care Park, marking the first birth of the animal at the location in North St. Louis County. Ruby weighed around 90 pounds when she was born. She follows along the gemstone-themed name for all the camels at the St. Louis Zoo. And
my favorite camel is Topaz.
Silence. How does that make you
How
feel?
many humps does that camel have, Ethan?
Let me see if the story tells me. It does not tell me, so I'm going to go ahead and guess that it has one.
One.
I'm going one.
One hump jump.
A single hump camel.
Okay.
Just one hump. That's all it takes. Oh, no. The next paragraph told me it has two.
Ruby has two.
It literally the next sentence that I was going to read that I hadn't got there yet says that Bactrian camels are notably distinguished with two humps on their back, which are used to store fat that converts to energy when needed.
Nice.
There you go. Happy birth to Ruby. Congrats on being born about 2 months ago, month and a half ago.
I love it.
That's
the only
all-
time you
Go
can
ahead.
appropriately ask, how many humps does it have? Out of that, that's the only time you can ever say that phrase.
Mm-hmm.
That's, that is just about it.
Anytime anybody ever says it, I tell the FCC we were talking about camels.
You a zoo guy? You guys go to the zoo still? You got kids?
After
you guys
the
still
kids,
enjoy
after the kids
zoo?
got to a certain age, we
Still
haven't
not-
really gone.
no?
But when they were little, we went a lot.
I still like going to the zoo. We went last summer. We just did a day in Forest Park Hannah and I celebrating our 1-year anniversary. And I've
Frolicking.
been asking all day, can we go to the zoo? Can we go to the zoo? She's like, fine, let's go to the zoo. I was like, I really just wanted to see the penguins. I love the penguin exhibit at the zoo.
It's so good.
Good on
You're so spoiled. You got a good zoo there. So I move up here to Detroit. They have a Detroit zoo, and the kids are so this is lame compared to St. Louis. We don't even have a membership to the one up here because they were so spoiled by the great zoo in St. Louis.
Yeah, you probably got to pay for it too, you freaking loser.
A lot of money for it. It's not even. It's so expensive. I know. It's like, okay, lame. We're not getting a membership. We're skipping this one.
There is no city in America that will flex harder about its zoo than St. Louis. We might be the only city in America that flexes about our zoo because there just isn't much else.
We flex harder about our arch than the other city too.
Well, that's because we're the only one that has one. So anyway, you could start playing the music now, John. It is well past time for that.
It's the Annie Fry Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
We're up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to get lucky. We're up all night to get lucky.
Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan. You know Stewie, 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Stewie wants to talk to you about a bagel loan, and I have a feeling you're going to want to talk to him about a bagel loan. Well, what the heck is it? It's a mortgage. If you're looking to purchase a home, if you're looking to refinance your current mortgage and get a better setup for yourself, lower rates, shorter terms, whatever it might be, maybe even tapping into the equity in your home with that mortgage cash out refinance, the bagel loan is the smartest move out there. The bagel loan is a mortgage you're going to get that comes with $0 in closing costs. So when you call Stewie at 314-324-4440, that's 314-324-4440, Stewie's going to walk you through exactly how the bagel loan can work for you, and he can close in less than 2 weeks. Call my friend Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage and tell him Annie sent you. 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
What's up? It's Draymond Green. I'm back for my 14th NBA season, and my podcast, The Draymond Green Show, is back too. This season, I'm breaking down games, reacting to the biggest NBA stories, and sitting down with teammates, rivals, and culture shapers. And trust me, I'm not holding back. On the court or on the mic. 2 new episodes every week. New segments, big conversations, real basketball talk for the real hoop heads. Listen to and follow the Draymond Green Show wherever you get your podcasts. We're back. We're better. Let's get it.
Hey, it's Mark Cox. Take your lawn from good to great with my friends at Lawn Enforcement. I'm talking expert lawn care services to keep your lawn in order. And here's what they'll do for you. Anybody can mow your grass. At Lawn Enforcement, they want to enhance your property. They'll do the mowing and the trimming. They'll fertilize and implement a weed control program and erosion control, which includes retaining walls if you need it. They can landscape. They can design and install your flowers, your shrubs, your trees, all of your hardscapes. No project is too big or too small for my friends at Lawn Enforcement. You can check them out online at yourlawnenforcement.com. So instead of envying your neighbor's lawn, your neighbors are going to be wishing they had the lawn and landscape that you have. Go ahead and enjoy your space. Be proud when you entertain your friends and your family. They've been in business for over 30 years. Be sure and tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to yourlawnenforcement.com.
How often do you go to church? That is today's YouTube live chat poll, and we are asking you to answer that question with one of the following: never, just holidays, monthly, or weekly. And I apologize to our Catholic friends. Apparently somebody said, well, why didn't you put daily on there? Well, I guess you'll have to do weekly. That's the closest you can get, according to these answers. How often do you go to church? You can text in 314-241-9797. We're still in the week of Easter, so we're just curious. It is 2:35. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
From St. Peter's to Smithton, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Feeling my way through the darkness.
Welcome back to the Annie Price Show. I'm Ryan Recker. So are they working on that microphone now that Ethan broke?
With speed.
Hulk over there ripping things apart.
Yeah, he's just too strong for a studio job.
Isn't that true? And is it weird that he held the microphone sideways when he was talking? Not that it made a difference the way it sounded, but he was holding it sideways. You notice that?
I did. It was like the way a gangster holds a gun.
It was a gangster way of holding it. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking the same thing.
I was impressed.
You were?
Not
the
really.
OG, original gangster of radio.
Yeah, Ethan. The original
Ethan,
gangster of radio.
I got a couple other stories, and there's only a few here I want to get to, and I know we're getting close to the end of the show. Are there any sports? Let me just throw this out there. When it comes to the transgender athlete debate, are there any sports you'd be fine with intermingling like that?
I think that we've talked about this before, and the only one that I could come up with that I thought would be not quite fair, but at least closer would maybe be golf, depending on if you allowed people to play from different tees. I can't
It's like a handicap.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything else. I mean, you could come up with things that aren't quite sports, like chess tournaments and things like that, but that's not sports.
Right. That's different. Okay. ESPN has this story. Transgender dart players say they're not done fighting after the sport's governing body enacted rules saying only biological females can compete in women's tournaments. So darts, would that be one that would be a big deal if there were, a switch over there?
That doesn't seem like one that you'd have to have a gender breakout, but apparently the only reason to ever do a female version of a sport or activity is that females can't compete with guys in the regular version of the activity.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that means guys are better at darts. I don't know.
Maybe. I think generally speaking, I think people are just like, we just got to make a blanket rule here because this is so out of hand that we can't do this case by case basis stuff anymore. It is just, it's more than we can handle when it comes to individually approving stuff. So we got to just make it based on sex, which really is, there's no problem with that, actually. That's actually the way it probably should be. But I was just curious if there would be any instances like this where there would be any biological advantage. I guess maybe, but you're only standing so far apart from it. Is it just like the tendons and things might play a factor here? But I don't know. I guess, but maybe not.
Would you? Okay, so this it would be a sport. It's more of a skill-based sport. But something like curling, could you see that being a sport where men and women would be on equal footing? I don't know how you'd have an advantage
curling,
as a guy.
like on the Olympics, your teams have men and women on them. So
Do
I
they?
think they already kind of set the stage there. What about like pool? Like you're playing like billiards.
You know, that's a good question because you usually do see guys playing guys. Do you see women playing guys?
I don't know, and I don't know if the crowd's large enough for that.
Yeah,
Like,
it's not a super popular
like-
sport.
the bad boys of billiards. Okay, couple of the things I want to get to. You see, RFK Jr. is going to be launching a podcast.
All for it.
You're in. You would say I'd listen to that voice for an hour.
No, I would say
Okay.
that I would not listen to it, but I'm still for it because any information that they're going to get out directly, like the White House just launched an app, and it's so that they don't have to go through traditional media to share with you economic numbers or just whatever's happening. And it would be their version of the news. I understand that. Everybody who downloads it would understand that. But I like the direct communication, and that looks like what RFK is doing here.
Yeah, the Secretary Kennedy podcast will launch next week. Will feature Kennedy, a longtime crusader, I guess, when it comes to public health policy. But I'm looking at the AP, the longtime anti-vaccine crusader. They threw that.
That's
in
not
there.
even true.
Yeah, I know, but the AP copy puts it in there. You see, when I look at that, I instantly just filter it out because I kind of can catch these things in real time and try to correct it so what I'm saying is accurate, as opposed to reading what's inaccurate and going back and accrediting it to the source which said it. But in the conversation with doctors, scientists, and agency staff, U.S. Department of Health and Human Service officials told the AP ahead of the launch in a teaser video, Kennedy's bill is a new way to expose corruption and lies that have made Americans sick. So that could be pretty good.
Yeah,
There's a
I
chance
like
of
it
that.
when he comes out and does. He did a lot in the campaign season that I'm not sure what he's done about, like the dyes that are in Fruit Loops and stuff like that. I'm not sure what's been done because I know a lot of the companies that were doing these things just complied of their own free will and there was no government edict that had to come down, which is great. That's the way you'd almost prefer it to happen. But I've not seen what he's actually done. So something like this might help with that if he's out there saying, look, this is what we've accomplished.
Right. So that's one extra podcast. There's so many podcasts. I don't got time to listen to
I know.
everything. Ain't nobody got time for that. And once you find something you like, you normally stick with it until it gets old. So it's like, okay, I can try something new for the sake of just trying to understand it, but I'll listen to one episode and that's it, one and done. I don't think something like this is going to hook me into it, but it's kind of interesting. Maybe it means he'll be doing a radio tour to try to promote this. You guys can get him on the show. That'd be fun.
That would be good. You know, and everybody knows he's not the easiest person to listen to. So him doing a long form podcast, I'm not sure how well it's going to work. I do hope that he does well at it, though, because it is a lot of information. I think this is one of those topics that crosses political boundaries with the food and the vaccines and what you're putting in your body, that a lot of people would listen to this who are not necessarily Trump people.
Yeah. So going back to this copy from the AP where they call him a longtime anti-vaccine crusader, it's very interesting. Do you think they mean that as, so what context in the reason for them to put that in there? What would be the, like, let's say the person's writing this up and they said, this is a way we have to put as a preface into the story so better people can better understand who he is. Why do you think that was something they purposely put in there? Is it just because they don't like him? Is it because they feel like it's necessary? They feel like this is a way to slight him? Is it a way to discredit him? There's got to be a motivation for them to do it that way.
It's to discredit him.
Yeah.
It's to grab a certain sect of the American population and say, yes, you can listen to this, and maybe you're going to, but remember that he's crazy. They're trying to lead the story off by getting ahead of him sharing actual information. Because anytime they write about him, sometimes he'll say things that you're like, well, that's really interesting. I want to know more about that. But if you open with, but remember he's crazy, then then some people will not even look into it at all.
Yep. If you know what, that's very interesting because it's an easy way to dismiss it without actually having to understand.
Right.
Yeah, that's a fascinating thought. Let me give this other story real quick. And I saw this in the New York Post, which I would say I look at the New York Post as almost like one of the sites I go to daily at this point. I like what they put up there. I know that they sensationalize things, but the stuff that they're reporting on, you're going to find it that it's not going to be in other places, but they're important things that they talk about. So in this case, mother of two snatched by homeless creep and dragged into tent at dangerous encampment near elementary school. Of all the things that we can get behind, Republican, Democrat, whatever it is, why is it that we can't clean up areas by schools, either let it be drug dens or crack houses where, homeless are in there with barrels with the lit fires and stuff, and there's just needles and all kinds of stuff around there. And in some cases, homeless encampments, which have a lot of these same traits. Why can't we just stop these things from occurring near schools where children are walking to school? Like the routes that they take to get to this thing, if they have to go by these things, that is totally unacceptable. So parents are sounding the alarm out of a South Los Angeles elementary school after a mother says two of the kids were grabbed by a homeless attacker and dragged into their homeless tent. The children experienced, as you can imagine, some pretty big trauma based around that. Placed in the tent, and city officials refused to fix the problem. Elementary school, which is part of the LA Unified School District, located about a block from the underpass in which this happened, this homeless encampment. It says, describes some of the revolting things that kids were exposed to and things that they saw while they were trying to walk, just generally speaking. But why can't we just, as a city of Los Angeles, can't you just say, we're done with this? We're not doing this by the school. But they can't and they won't. Why do they side with these homeless encampments over the kids?
Yeah, they can do it. They just don't have the will to do it. I think you and I, Ryan, have talked about this stat before. J.D. Vance has brought it up. Elon Musk has brought it up. Many, many others. That it's something like around 1,000 people per major metropolitan area are responsible for something like 90% of the crime. Mm-hmm. They're repeat offenders, and they just keep putting them back out on the street, and they just keep committing more and more crime. And a lot of times that crime gets increasingly worse and more violent. And so it would take just the will of the law enforcement, really the political law enforcement, not the Leos themselves, to say we're going to lock repeat offenders up long term. They're going to stay in jail, and they just won't do it. They won't do it. And depending on the city size, St. Louis is kind of a mid-market city. There would be less than 1,000. Bigger cities would have a little bit more than 1,000, but it's not that many people.
Yeah. No. That's just another thing that's happening in LA, but we see that in other areas too. And this is not a bad exercise. If you have a kid that goes to a public school, even here in St. Louis, and you're looking at it and you're like, that house seems like there's a lot of needles. Maybe we should do something about these abandoned homes so the kids don't have to walk by this. All the hedges and grass overgrown. It's dangerous. Maybe we should do something about this. Maybe you can start there and see what the city says if your kids are getting close to that. One last thing before we go to break. So you're going to the Cardinals game tonight, Ryan Wiggins.
Yeah.
When you're in, you said the Big Mac section, and you got your all-you-can-eat stuff going on, can you do me a favor and ask whoever's there that's to monitor the food, hey, how many humps does that have? Could you try to slip that into the conversation tonight?
No, I'm not going to do that because it would sound sexual in nature. I mean, there is no way to tell those people I was asking about a camel in the park.
Well, no. It could mean anything. It could be like, lumps of sugar, you could just...
Well, that's
lumps.
call
those humps.
I wouldn't say
call those
humps then.
Or you call them like the ketchup packets. How many humps does that come with? Oh, no, that's what I call ketchup packets. You're not going to try that?
You're going to say that you call ketchup packets humps?
Yeah, it's a weird thing they do in Illinois. It's just blame it on Illinois.
Why don't you go to a Tigers game and do it first and let me know how it goes?
Maybe I will. Next chance, we can both do it. All right, let's get the poll question coming up after the break. Looking forward to hearing the results of that. Still time to go vote. Go do it now. 97.1 FM Talk.
All this time I was finding myself and I didn't know I was lost.
I'm Kim Commando, inviting you to listen to my show. Come be a part of the show. Every weekend, I take your calls as we talk about smartphones, artificial intelligence, security, and trends that change every single day. It's the Kim Commando Show, every Sunday from 3 to 4.
Home Shield Foundation Repair, add an S to that. That's the website, homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com. When you call Matt Hayes at 314-271-9900, that's 314-271-9900, Matt Hayes is going to show up with the best team in the business to make sure that that basement gets the waterproofing it deserves. And let's be honest, maybe that you've been postponing. It's time to have somebody you trust come into that basement and give you a full assessment of exactly what it is you're looking at. You probably don't know the full detail of why your basement is leaking, but you have an expert like Matt Hayes come in. He's going to walk you through what you're dealing with and also how he can fix it for you once and for all. And you can trust Home Shield Foundation Repair to do the job right the first time because they're going to give you a lifetime warranty. On top of the great work that their team is going to put into your basement, just give them a call at 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. Call Matt Hayes, tell him Annie sent you, and visit him online at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from Generator Supercenter. They're the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. Call 314-499-2020. That's 499-2020 or GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com. That's GeneratorSuperCenterofSt.Louis.com.
It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield, where luxury meets comfort. Mark Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
Annie Fry is St. Louis conservative.
See, this is a good song that makes you feel like the weekend is going to be a good weekend, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a good one. It's
I like
a
it.
fun song.
All right. Well, we have the YouTube live chat poll. We're going to read the results here in a couple of minutes, right? We're pretty close to it.
Mm-hmm. I've got the results.
Ooh. Wait, you already have it? You closed the poll?
No, I haven't closed it, but I have the
Okay.
results up, so they'll be live changing as I watch it.
Can I tell you something that we do news articles every time, like every this time of year when it comes to taxes, where you have CPAs and professionals say things like, if you're getting a refund, you're doing it wrong. You know, those type of articles that always generate. I find that to be such garbage when I hear that sort of thing. I totally disagree with the professionals on this one.
Well, what's the argument that you're giving the government a loan, and so you're getting a no interest loan and getting your money back?
Right, exactly. Here's what I'll say. What's like an average return for someone?
I don't know, a couple thousand maybe?
Okay, let's just say it's 2,000 for the sake of argument. Let's say you would found a way for you to make it so you get zero refund. Everything's equal and it's great. So let's say you got 2,000 and you invested that. And let's say you got a 4% return on it, like a bond or something right now. So you're looking at $80 roughly in interest if you're lucky with that $2,000 over the course of a year.
Yeah, that's if you've been really smart with that $2,000 too.
Right. So you get $80 return, plus you'll pay tax on that $80 once you take it out. So that $80 is not actually 80. Let's just say hypothetically it's 70.
Yeah.
Yeah, 60. Okay. Is it worth trying to get things on a slim margin to the point where you're making $70 and if you're wrong, you have to pay the government at the end of the year? Or would you rather just have that $2,000 come back at the end?
This is a really good point because you're right. I used to think that way, like, oh yeah, government loan, you're not getting anything back. But what are you going to do with that $2,000? Realistically, you're going to stick it in your checking account, and it's going to earn what 0.2% back on it. Nothing.
they make it sound like if you just because you're giving them money and you're wasting it if you do that. Well, let's just say hypothetically, even that $2,000, you would have to let that accrue for an entire year. But in this case, you're using that $2,000 over the course of a year because it'd be coming back in your paycheck. So that 70 that turns down to 60 now is more like probably 40 because you're not getting all of that interest over the course of a year. You might get some of it over a year, but a lot of it's going to be 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months. It's not worth it because then if you cut it close and you pay the government, you're going to be angry as opposed to, you know what? I'll take the $2,000. It's not worth the hassle of getting $70.
And how much is your time worth for you to try to hit it on the nose every year? Let's say you spend even just 4 hours of a day just trying to factor in, see how much you're going to get back if you try to hit it at zero. Then you just wasted 4 hours. Well, how much is your time worth?
And if you're wrong, it's such a big hassle too. And guess what happens too if you have to pay the government? They're going to want you to pay them quarterly, like or whatever it is. Like the penalty, if you have to pay multiple years in a row, then you get in trouble because they want you to prepay your taxes, especially if they see it as a business. So that's my thing. Whenever I hear these articles at the end of the year, oh no, you shouldn't be getting a refund. You're a fool if you get a refund. Forget that. Don't listen to those experts. I'm telling you right now, it ain't worth the hassle. You got to be realistic.
I agree. All
right. That's my pet peeve. I see all these articles coming out because tax day's next week. Okay, so we have the poll results.
Yeah, the question is, how often do you go to church? We were just thinking about something that was a little less political. Although I guess some people would treat that as a political question. We didn't intend it. But Easter was just Sunday, so we asked how often do you go to church. And the options were never, just holidays, monthly, or weekly. Care to guess? You said you go weekly, Ryan, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing weekly is probably, for this audience, I'm guessing weekly.
You think that's the winner, and you are correct. Weekly is the number one answer, 56%. So the majority go weekly. And then guess what number two is?
I'm going to say just holidays.
No, it's never.
Oh, really?
Number two is never. So weekly was 56% of people. Never was 28% of people. So that's not quite a third of our audience never goes to church at all.
That's the liberal people listening.
No, I don't think so. It's usually about 6 or 7%. But the others that factored into this were monthly was just 7%, and then just holidays was almost 10%.
Really? That's interesting to me. That does surprise me some. I was not expecting that. Okay, well, congrats. I'm glad that people are going weekly. What do you think the number would be if it was daily? That would probably be the lowest.
Yeah,
if we
that's
had
a good question. I don't know the answer to that. And I chose to put monthly on this poll simply because I find that that's kind of what I do anymore, is I go multiple times in a month, but it's not every week, so I would have to choose monthly.
Right. Bi-weekly is becoming a popular thing. Wednesday nights, if you can do it, I think people like and enjoy that sort of thing. All right, it's weekend time. You're going to go to the Cardinals game. You're going to have fun with your kids. You're going to let them eat ice cream out of a baseball cap, I hope.
I do hope.
Oh, man, there's nothing better than a kid sitting in a ball game eating ice cream out of a plastic baseball cap. All right, it was fun doing the show with you. Are you going to be back on Monday?
Yeah, we'll see you Monday.
I'll be back again Monday, too, at Ryan Recker. Oh, I'm going to be doing Coast to Coast AM Sunday night. So if you're up late listening to it, I'll be here again doing Coast to Coast AM, which is bright and early. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
If you want to get your kids interested in investing, let them get their hands dirty. Financial planner Shane Gornick says you can set up a custodial account.
A parent would set up the account on your child's behalf.
Or you can start with paper trading, which doesn't involve real money.
Using real prices and real data.
The goal is to ignite their curiosity.
To get them interested in it and want to learn more.
I'm Rob Hart.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-948-7878. That's 800-948-7878.